Welcome everybody to BX Sports Jedi Sports Talk. I am Bronx Jedi Sports. I hope everyone's having a good evening. Welcome aboard, 8 o'clock, the 8th day of July, 2021. Glad to have you aboard. We have a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about. Of course, we appreciate you joining me each and every day. We'll start off with the first segment. Before I bring in our panelist with the UFC talk, I'm going to really first quickly go around the soccer. Let's get the soccer talk out of the way. Go on in real quick before we bring in the UFC fights and all my panelist guests. Once again, I appreciate you guys here live and in color. We're gonna start off with the Euro Cup. The Euro Cup is gonna come to a final. The conclusion, the final game matchup is gonna be Sunday night. We'll have a good, interesting matchup. We got Italy versus England for the final Gold Cup challenge. It's going to be at 3 o'clock on Sunday, ESPN. It's going to be a real good game. I think I like Italy to win this game. I think Italy will beat England 2-1. It's going to be a really good back and forth game. I think Italy gets that game-winning goal around the 87th minute mark and just propel them to get that Gold Cup victory. It's been a good tournament. Earlier in the tournament, we saw Italy defeat England defeat Denmark in a real good game, and Italy also won, and they beat Spain. They beat Spain in the penalty kicks. It was a real good shootout, and in both events, and they go get the right to play each other. It's going to be in Wembley. It's going to be full house. England is at home, but I still think the Italians have just what it takes just to pull out that road in a hostile environment in Wembley. I think they'll go get that 2-1 victory and win that Gold Cup. I don't see it going into penalties. I think it's going to be a clear-cut winner. Maybe an overtime goal. Maybe not, but who knows? It's been a real good Euro Cup series. The whole tournament has been really, really fun. It's personally it's going to be a little sad to see it go, but we know there's a lot of more soccer coming up. With that, I'm going to break on Copa America. Copa America also will come to its conclusion on Sunday. Friday and Saturday. Friday and Saturday. First, the third place game. You're gonna have Peru in the third place matchup. It's going up against Colombia, and that's at 8 o'clock tomorrow night on Fox Sports 2. If you guys want to watch that, Colombia looking to win that third place finish over Peru, or Peru wants to shock and make a statement and take that third place finish. That'll be an interesting matchup between those two countries, or neighboring countries in South America, to see that. And then, of course, all eyes the next night, Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Boy, this whole weekend is action-packed sports night. The whole month of July is so much action-packed. Starting, if you want to watch tomorrow the third place game, then you have Saturday. You got the baseball. The first half is coming to a close. The NBA Finals. We just concluded the Stanley Cup. What a month of July. All the winter sports come to conclusion, to an end. You have the draft 3 weeks away. You have the NFL training camp 4 weeks, about 4 weeks to 5. It's the Hall of Fame game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's going to be an interesting battle there. The training camp. Will Aaron Rodgers come in? But we'll talk about the Copa America. That's going to be this Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Argentina and Brazil battle of the heavyweights. Two powerhouses of the South American continent of soccer. One of the top, top 2 representative in all of football in Latin America. And man, I think the home crowd, the host team, I think is going to pull that cup, and I think they'll host it in front of their home country. I think Brazil will win this game 1-0 over Argentina. I think it's going to be really good because that Argentinian goalie is a really hell of a goalie, and I think Brazil, with the way Neymar has been playing and attacking and setting up the passes in the last few games, I think you can't put to bed Lionel Messi. These are one of the two greatest soccer players in this current generation, currently going at it in these two countries. They know each other, they battle each other. Some of these are teammates in the Liga and other leagues, and I think I see Brazil winning that 1-0 victory and a hell of a game, a really good, a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances, and I think that's the way that goes. It'll be nice to see a 4-3 game a real high scoring game. But these goalies, these netminders, are really, 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 really excellent netminders. They're really good at what they do. They anticipate the plays, and you saw it in the shootout. You saw it in the penalty kicks with Argentina when they went into against Colombia. The goalie psyched them out. He psyched out the Colombian forwards, and they were missing, and he was blocking, and he just got in their head with all the on field trash talk that we call it in our country. And it was just fun to see that, and to see that going forward. And let's see on that third place. I think I see Colombia taking the third place over Peru to conclude that Copa America. It was a very good Copa America, very entertaining, very good to for all you soccer fans that enjoy these different cups. We all knew that the Euro Cup was delayed a year, and they played it due to the COVID. But it's been a wonderful show. But there's more soccer, guys. It doesn't finish this weekend, because we have what's called the CONCACAF Gold Cup. That's starting. That already started with the prelims, and we got a whole schedule with it. That cup had just started. We already just did the preliminaries, the first and second round. We got coming up Saturday at 5 o'clock. You have El Salvador versus Curacao. And remember, the Gold Cup is being played in the United States, in American soil, and that's going to be interesting. That's going to draw a lot of crowd, a lot of interest. This is a country united that likes soccer. A lot of our people that are dwelling here love the soccer and love going to the stadium. It's going to be in the United States, and it's going to be fun to see the Gold Cup here. And then Saturday at 10 o'clock, that's going to have a lot of eyeballs all over, and in all bars and all in our homes. You can see the barbecues. You can see the hardworking folks after a hard day's work come home and have a few barbecue and meat and a few cold ones. You got Mexico playing against Trinidad and Tobago, who won one of the preliminary rounds, and they get to play Mexico in the group match stage. It's one of three matches, and then they go into the knockout stage. And then on Sunday you have Canada versus Martinique. That's at 6:30 p.m. And then Team USA in action 8:30 Sunday night. It's going to be a pretty hard, heavy game, because they play another team that won the preliminaries and gets to play Haiti. Haiti, had that tragic with their president being assassinated, and they're going through a small little turmoil. And the Haitian national team is going to be heavy-hearted. They're going to be very inspired to want to play a really good game. Give Team USA a really hard game for the money, and it's a dangerous game for Team USA to play Haiti. They're going to be motivated. Haiti has won that preliminary stage. They're right to play Team USA, and that's going to be a really, really tough game to see. And then you got Monday Jamaica and Suriname. That's at 6:30. Then Costa Rica and Guadeloupe, they play at 9 Monday night. Tuesday you got Qatar versus Panama, and one of the games that I'll personally be watching on Tuesday 9 o'clock. It's going to be Honduras versus Grenada. The big team Honduras will be playing. I can't wait to see that. And that's group stage, the one of three matches. And then then they play one each other. They go on a round robin type of deal, and then the best records in there move on to the group stage on that. So that's going to be interesting to see the CONCACAF Gold Cup going forward. Seeing all the different type of action with the soccer. It's going to be really, really interesting, guys. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of sports, a lot of different sports. If you for your liking, if you love baseball, the Major League Baseball is in the halfway point. The Midsummer Classic is coming. It's right here. The All-Star game will be next weekend. The final games will be this weekend. And also, if you guys love boxing, this is the boxing season. We got a lot of good cards coming up. This past weekend we had Colbert versus Nabar. Colbert improved to 16-0 with a unanimous decision. He looked good. He looked good. That jab was working fine. It was wonderful. He outboxed Nabar, and and good for that young kid from Brooklyn, New York. He did a wonderful job. With his defense and also with the jab. He didn't take any punches, necessary punches, despite the fact Nabar fought him about 2 weeks notice to get in that because his former opponent dropped out. of the fight, but he took the fight in short notice. But it was a wonderful, entertaining fight. And also, we got some upcoming good matches. You got Deontay Wilder, Fury on the 24th. That's the third and hopefully the third and final fight. To win the rubber match on that one, to see if Wilder comes in there and get his title back and be able to continue to move on in this heavyweight Grand Prix that I call. And we got some more fights. We got Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao coming up. That's going to be good if you're a boxing fan with all that. And then of course this weekend, all eyes this weekend. We all know that it's UFC 264, and with that, I'm going to bring in a panelist that's going to help me break this down. And coming with us right now is Austin. I'm privileged to bring him in here. Austin, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
Excellent, very good. I see that I'm gonna bring the card up here, and I wanted to take Poirier McGregor 3. This is the third and final bout between these three guys. Each one has won a fight, 1-1, and it's the rubber match of the series that they call it. I just want to hear your insights and your thoughts on this fight.
Well, first of all, let me just start by, you mentioned earlier how this is like a big month for sports, and you're right about that. You got a lot. You got this fight, this pay-per-view card. You got next week with Islam Makhachev, who's like Khabib's successor, who's just as good as Khabib fight next week. And then of course Bellator. You got especially Pitbull and McKee for the featherweight title, and the end of July and July 31st, which that we'll talk more about as we get closer to it. And also Dillashaw, Corey Sandhagen, all these great fights, and not just MMA but boxing. You mentioned Wilder and Fury 3, and also Spence and Manny Pacquiao, which I did not. Oh, that's in August. But yeah, right around the corner though. But yeah, this is definitely a great time to be a combat sports fan and sports in general. So it's very exciting. I'm glad it's a good point you mentioned. But yeah, to break down the main event, McGregor Poirier 3, as we know, trilogies don't happen very often in MMA, especially high level MMA. And these are very special moments and special events, and something that MMA fans should definitely, and combat sports fans, period, should definitely be appreciative of. Especially since they're both 1-1. They fought back in the first time, September 2014. Conor McGregor knocked Poirier out in the first round with KO, and then 6 and a half years later, this past January, Poirier knocked him out and TKO him in the second round. So usually, and they're both great, strikers. They both, have a lot of knockouts. McGregor has 19, and I forget how many Poirier has, but I think it's double digits for sure. Poirier definitely has and McGregor both have some of the best hands in all of the lightweight division, and probably all of MMA and UFC for sure. And it'd be interesting to see how can McGregor counter the calf kicks, because that's what really led to his downfall in the fight in January. Was he got kicked? He won the first round, but that round went on. He started getting hit a lot more with calf kicks, and then the second round got hit with it, making him more stationary, easy for Poirier to pick apart. And then obviously he dropped him and finished him in that fight. And that's, one thing. And also another thing is how hungry, people wonder how hungry is Conor McGregor. I mean, people have been asking that ever since he fought Floyd back in August of 2017, 100 mil. And also his whiskey company, Private 12, sold for like, what was it? I think 400 million, like a ridiculous amount of money. So he's got a lot of money. It's a guy who one point when he got in UFC was on food stamps or government assistance in Ireland. Now he's, have generational wealth. I think Marvin Hagler, rest in peace, who had that famous quote about it's hard to get up in bed when we have silk sheets, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yes.
And some people are wondering, is he complacent? Is he really giving, is he really into this? Is he like as serious, as hungry as he was when he was fighting in 2013, 14, 15? Now, personally, I think McGregor has a lot of ego, a lot of pride. I think he wants to get revenge, because obviously no one likes getting knocked out. I mean, if you get knocked out, you want to get revenge, and it's most people, especially your fighter, obviously. And my thing is, I do wonder though, like what happens if this fight does get past, let's say, like the first or second round, if McGregor's cardio is going to keep up, because that's the one criticism in the past is that he tends to. As the fight goes on, his cardio tends to go down. Especially if you watch, even though he won the second Diaz fight, but he did like slow down somewhat. He had that second burst of win in the fourth round. But also Poirier, I mean, does Poirier, get a little somewhat confident because he just knocked him out 6 months ago? Poirier trains with great. They both train in good gyms, both of them. But American Top Team for Poirier and SBG Ireland for McGregor. But does Poirier think, does he, get a little complacent and think, well, I already knocked him out, so I don't have to, now obviously going to work hard, but he's not going to be as hungry, as motivated. Plus he has tasted some success too. Not like the level of McGregor, but his name has definitely gone up, and ever since knocking out McGregor. Poirier is always, he always brings him. He's a dog. I mean, he's one of the more entertaining fighters in UFC the last decade. Really, he's up there. If you really want to do all entertaining team in UFC, he'll definitely be on there along with McGregor. But as he can place him, maybe McGregor is able to catch him. I mean, I'm very interested. I mean, it's a lot of things going in. There's so many things that can happen. Again, in the first round, getting decision, getting fifth round TKO. I mean, it's a lot of things. Poirier can submit him. I mean, McGregor can win by decision. I mean, that's the beauty of this fight. There's not like a clear-cut way. I mean, a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, Poirier's going to win because it's not enough time for McGregor to adjust the calf kicks or anything like that. But the both strikers particularly, and it's MMA. Anything can happen in the sport. It's not like Poirier's just Habib with grappling, where it's like, oh man, McGregor really struggles with that. Yeah, he got no chance. It's not like that at all. It's very competitive, and it's going to be very exciting Saturday night. And I can speak for all of us UFC fans. And MMA fans, and we cannot wait for Saturday night.
I agree. Let me ask you a question with Conor McGregor. You're talking about his hunger, his desire to get in the ring. Could you think he wants to? I think he's going to have that desire, that fire, because I think he wants to try to be UFC's version of Floyd Mayweather with the money, showmanship. Main eventer, he is the top gross fighter in his fights. Whenever he fights, he is going to draw eyeballs, and he is going to draw the cachet to the main event. Do you think he's trying to compete on that level as a Floyd Mayweather type of showmanship and entertainer?
Yeah, it's possible, because a lot of people have always made a comparison from him and Floyd. I mean, Floyd even mentioned it when they're leading up to their fight out. He just stole his blueprint basically and things like that. Although then there were some differences between the two of them, but anyway, that's not. But still, yeah, definitely. And plus, it helps. If you keep on winning, it definitely helps you in terms of your box office appeal and things like that. But if you keep on winning, because you're still gonna have to hide certain attention. I mean, Floyd got all attention because he just won. And people hated him. People wanted to see his ass whoop, and people kept buying. Sometimes fights didn't live up to the hype. I mean, but at least McGregor, unlike McGregor, whose fights typically, almost all of them are always exciting, never boring. And yeah, obviously, he likes to, make a lot of money. If he keeps winning, he's gonna get a shit ton of money because of his popularity, and that's a lot of that has to do with winning. I mean, most popular athletes are successful ones. I mean, LeBron successful, Jordan was successful. I mean, Derek Jeter was successful. Tom Brady successful. Wayne Gretzky. In all sports, not just combat, but all sports in general. I mean, Serena Williams. And so, yeah, I think you're right about that. How he kind of wants to be like Floyd Mayweather, type of deal, UFC's version of it. But also, I think he just wants to avenge the Poirier loss. I think he just wants to win the trilogy fight, win it once and for all. Get that bad taste out of his mouth. Because I'm not sure if you heard about Dana White, but he said that basically. He said what we all believe, in that the winner of this fight is going to fight for the 155 title, which kind of makes sense considering Poirier is the only top lightweight right now is on a roll. He's won two in a row. He did fight Habib in September 2019, lost for the lightweight title, but has won 2 in a row since. Beat Dan Hooker in June 2020, and then beat McGregor in January. And if he were to beat McGregor, that'd be 3 in a row. It'd be no brainer to put him in Oliveira for the 155 title. But if McGregor were to avenge the Poirier loss, win a trilogy. And maybe no brainer for him to fight Oliveira also, considering the star power. McGregor was the former 155 champion. And of course, Oliveira will definitely like to want that fight too, considering it's a big payday for him too. And that's the one guy that's definitely one fighter of everybody's really keeping an eye on this fight. Has to be Charles Oliveira, who, it'd be a fun fight to see Oliveira fight either of those guys. Really, it doesn't matter who. Right,
I think so too. I think that's going to be a really good fight. The winner of this fight to fight Oliveira. Do you think that's going to happen before the year ends, or that's something for next year?
Before the year ends, I definitely don't see it going into next year. I'll be surprised if it's next year.
Go. So you're probably see November, December.
Yeah.
No, that what a way to close out the year if you have that. Like a kind of a like elimination bout, and then the winner fights that'd be great for that vacant 154 title.
Well, it's not vacant. I mean, if Oliveira won the title.
Got you. He's the
It's
champion.
just it's just that his first title defense, and and plus, I mean, it's the one thing I feel like some people are not talking enough about. Even though if you're an MMA fan, everyone kind of notices that is that this is basically the number one contender fight for the 155 title, basically the unofficial number one contender fight. And it adds another element to this trilogy fight. It's that, which is definitely makes it more exciting, more juicy. It was already juicy as it is. The fight.
But yeah, it's gonna be action packed. I'm gonna also I'll put the card up. Let's talk about the co-main event. You have Burns and Thompson. Tell me about that fight.
Ooh, I mean that right there is an important fight for the 170-pound division. Considering Gil Burns has come off the title loss to Kamaru Usman, he fought for the world title. He did well in that fight. Like the first few minutes, he didn't drop Usman, but just Usman was able to recover and just hurt him. And then by the third round, just finished him off. I mean, and Gilbert at that point was on a roll. I believe he had won 4 in a row in welterweight, and he's still one of the elite welterweights in the world. I mean, the guy is like grappling. He's like a world champion, in jiu-jitsu tournaments. Like I forget which ones he won, but he's like high level. I mean, he's got like 8 submission victories, and he's got 6 knockouts. I know he's a complete mixed martial arts. He wins in different ways. Where Wonder Boy is the traditional. He comes from a kickboxing background, but his style is awkward. That's the thing. It's not easy. Like Wonder Boy is always a tough fight for a lot of guys because it's so tricky. It's hard to like prepare for a guy like him, and which is one of the reasons why he's had a lot of success. He's fought for the world title twice. Even at his age, I think Wonder Boy is like 38, if I'm not mistaken. Yet he's still like on the cusp of getting another title fight, possibly. And he's won 2 in a row, and he's also if he beat Gilbert Burns, who just fought for the title, there might be a chance that Wonder Boy versus Usman's next for the 170-pound title. I disagree with it personally, but still, I understand though because he's won 3 in a row. He's the only guy Usman hasn't fought yet, and plus
Right.
tricky style. But like I said, he's got to get a Gilbert Burns, which is also not an easy fight because Gilbert can knock you out. I mean, just ask Damian Maia. Look at that fight from last year when the pandemic first happened. Who Maia's been knocked out, but guys don't hit him like that. But Maya got knocked out in like 40 seconds or like a minute or something. Yeah, it was the first round. So it's definitely a lot of like importance to that fight as well, which definitely makes the pay-per-view even worth more considering the main event and the co-main event each have title implications and also involve guys in the top 5 of 2 weight classes.
And both are going to be 5 rounds, not the typical 3-round fight.
The 3 rounds the co-main event. The main event's 5 rounds.
Okay, so the co-main event is a 3-round slugfest. Wow. Now, I seen Wonder Boy. I seen him. He's more like a wrestler, like you said, wrestler grappler. But I also seen him. I seen one of his fights that he had a knockout. I don't remember exactly which one was, but he did loosen out the hands, and he was pretty good.
Burns or Wonder Boy?
No, Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy.
No, he's a kickboxer.
He's a kickboxer.
He's kickboxer. He comes from a kickboxing background. I think he's like 80 kickboxing fights. So yeah, he's a lot. He's one of the best kickboxers in MMA.
It's gonna be good to see the way they different child. I think he'll give Usman a tough time. If he gets past Gilbert Burns. But man, that's gonna be good. We'll break down the card and then we'll give our prediction who you think was gonna win and why. We'll continue talking about it, and I'm gonna talk about the third fight on this card. You know me, I like watching. I've been watching his career in MMA since he's been in there. Greg Hardy is gonna fight. Tell me about it. Tuivasa. Talk to me about that heavyweight title fight.
Heavyweight's definitely a big heavyweight fight considering, these are 2 ranked. I believe they're both ranked. If not, I know Ty's ranked. I don't know Greg Hardy's ranked because he come off his loss to I think Tabora, who's just been on a roll lately in the heavyweight division. So, and they're both, they both got power. I mean, Tai Tuivasa has 11 victories. 10 of them are all by knockout. 10 of them are knockouts. So, and Greg Hardy, I think all his victories are knockout. No, all but one fight is a knockout victory. He had that decision victory over De Castro when the first UFC show post pandemic in Jacksonville. Yeah. And it's really going to be interesting to see considering who can land the bigger shot. Obviously, I know you say for most heavyweight fights because the heavyweight division, a lot of them have power. Almost, if not all of them have power. But Greg Hardy and Tai Tuivasa really have power though. Like they're up there. I mean, Francis would definitely be number one in terms of heavyweight power, but they're not far off, especially Greg Hardy. And it'd be interesting who could land the better shot, who can be more technical, and also who has the better cardio. Because that's always been a problem with Greg Hardy's MMA career. The past is cardio is that, especially since considering he's such a big guy. I think he's sometimes almost 300 pounds. That also has to do with his NFL career, considering he was around 300 pounds playing defensive end for the Carolina Panthers back in the day. And and it was interesting to see if Greg Hardy can continue, improve his cardio and learn new techniques of, develop wrestling takedown, how to get submissions and things like that. What you see, maybe he can show against Tai Tuivasa, even though Ty's not exactly the guy who's going to be grappling people to death. But Ty might do it, considering, they both. Greg has a great power in his hands, or Ty might say, "Screw it, I have power too. I'm going to go out there and I can knock you out too."
Yeah. This is going to be, I think, like Greg Hardy's 8th or 9th fight. I think he hasn't had 10 or 11. So now he's going to start getting into his fruition. We're going to find out. I think my opinion is his 10th fight or 11th fight going into his dozen. I think we're going to find out what kind of fighter is. If he's right, we all know he's a striker, with power. Maybe he gets experience and maybe how to defend himself. Maybe he gets takedown on the mat. I would definitely love to see something different in Hardy's arsenal to get a submission win. But he's not that type of fighter. But maybe 12 fights into his UFC career, he learned something a little bit different. Because the power is always going to be there, but not all the time. It's also nice to add a little wrinkle to your repertoire there, especially if you got to get into a ground assault or a ground defensive game and be able to how to counteract on grapple or cut out of certain holes, and not be vulnerable when they put his butt on the mat or his back. If he's fighting on the mat, back on the mat, he's going to be pretty much useless because he's not really know how to get out or defend himself. So it'll be nice to see what his training team has gone back to the drawing board with him to see, because after that loss he took, to see if he's going to work on something different, if he's going to use defensively on the ground or go for a submission. I think he could, with a rear naked choke with his strength and his arms, I think he could be dangerous with that. What do you think on his maturation with 12 fights already in his career?
You bring a lot of good points about that. Like, after 12 or 10 fights, we can learn more about you as a fighter, like what you're, and hopefully you're developing new skills, because in order to be, a world champion in MMA, you're going to have to do more than just knock guys out, throw power punches. Yeah, set it up, do combos, maybe throw some kicks or be able to defend takedowns. Because like I mentioned, his last fight, his last fight against Tabora, we lost. He got tired, and also his grappling wasn't all there. And then Tabora is a much better grappler, and that basically led to his downfall in that fight. And I believe he's been working on his cardio. He trains at a good gym in South Florida with Rashad Evans and Henry Hoof. I think Henry Hoof is his head coach. He's one of the best head coaches in all of MMA, in Sanford MMA and down in Coconut Creek, Florida. So it'll be interesting to see. And I'm trying to remember if Tai Tuivasa. No, he doesn't train AKA more. He trained AKA is one of the top gyms, also MMA in San Jose, California. I know he was there for a little bit. I don't know if he's there now, but yeah, Tai. Like I said, Ty is always a guy who I always felt like, man, he just put it together. He could be a top 5 heavyweight in the world if he can just, not get hit as much, put new techniques. He can be a top 5. Same thing with Greg Hardy. The athleticism's there, the power. They both got power. Hopefully it's not boring. They're afraid to hit each other because they both got power type of fight. That would be horrible. No one wants that.
Right, like they're trying to stay away from each other because they're afraid of getting landed with that one big punch that could turn the fight. Yeah, I know what you mean on that type of fight going forward with that too. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Right, because we don't need a Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis one type of fight. That just let me start. It's one of the worst fights I've ever seen. That fight. Oof.
All right, so let's talk about the one more fight, a couple more fights. I guess Adeline versus what? How do you say that?
Kunitskaya is Russian. She's Russian. I can't her name's hard. Russian, Europeans have those long names. And I know this is a big fight for the 135 division. For women's 135. That division is kind of shallow because Amanda Nunes is basically just clean out that division.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Irania Aldana was close, but she lost to Holly Holm back in October, so she's on the drawing board. And Kunitskaya has been, excuse me, she's been on a roll. I think she's won like 2 or 3 last fights, and it means maybe she beats has a great performance against Irania Alanda, and she maybe gets a title fight. Maybe I doubt it because I believe Amanda Nunes is going to beat Juliana Pena in August, like most people, but. Maybe. I mean, maybe she fights Holly Holm, Kunitskaya, if she wins against her fight here. So, yeah, it's important 135 division title. I mean, like I said, that division, unfortunately, is kind of shallow and not, it doesn't have a lot of fanfare, which I can understand because it's like no one out there is like really impressive that you can go, man, Amanda can have trouble with that girl. If you really think to be honest.
I'm personally a fan of Amanda Nunes. I think she's the best pound for pound fighter, not just woman fighter, but fighter all around, man. She's just dominant. Mm-hmm. She goes in there and she just dominates. She's just like she said, she's the lioness. She just goes in there and is awesome. Whatever she does, she could fight. She pretty much sent Cyborg packing to Bellator. She destroyed every competition that's in front of her. I think she right now August 16th is going to be a good fight. Hopefully she doesn't take it lightly and she don't get caught because these fighters could get caught by accident. All you need is one turn of a punch, and it could turn a glorious career. So but I think Amanda Nunes is really focused and we see what's going to happen on that division. We'll see that, and then we'll go to the next fight before we hit the prelims. We have O'Malley and Mountain Q.
Montague, yeah. Okay, so this fight is weird. Let me explain the backstory of this fight.
Yes.
Sean O'Malley was supposed to fight someone else, Louis Smolka, but Smolka got hurt and pulled out like last week or so. And then it was just within the last week they found a new opponent for Sean O'Malley, and this guy who he has a 9-4 record, which you think, solid. But the problem is he's 2-2 in the last 4 fights. Mm-hmm. This is his UFC debut. And Sean O'Malley's a guy that the UFC really likes. Like people think they're really pushing him hard, considering he's got a fun personality. He's got the colored hairs, the wear tattoos and stuff. Like you looking in the fridge, you have a reaction towards that. You already think this guy is a clown, or actually think this guy's kind of cool type of vibe with Sean O'Malley. And so it almost feels like I don't want to say a setup, like a toss-up fight for him, because obviously it's short notice. But it kind of feels like that. I mean, the guy's 2-2 in his last 4 fights in the regional scene. Now he's going to fight in the UFC. I mean, who knows? Maybe he capitalizes on it and beats Sean O'Malley, which I don't expect. But Sean O'Malley's a guy who could be, a potential, top 5, top 10, bantamweight in the world within the next, several years. A guy that could be a threat potentially. I think he's got that talent. I know some people may not think so. I think a lot of that has to do with his personality. People sometimes the personality affects how they view them as a fighter. Sometimes, and I've been guilty of that in the past with other fighters too.
Okay. Anything else on that? We're gonna look at the prelims. Anything sticks out to you in the prelims, or even in the? Let me remove the banner so you can see. And all the early prelims. Any of these fights out there that anyone should keep an eye out. That should be look out for this. Anything that triggers, hey, keep an eye on this, keep up and comer, keep an eye out for this fighter, trending in a positive direction or rebound direction.
There's two. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, finish your sentence. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. Okay,
there's 2 of them really. It's the Hall against I can't tell by the screen how to say his name.
Topuria,
yeah. That fight is interesting because Ryan Hall is a guy that a lot of guys for some reason don't want to fight him. Like it's been hard for him to get fights. And guys don't want to fight Ryan Hall, which I get why, because his jiu-jitsu is like high level, like elite. Like I know I say it for some guys, but for him especially, it's like he has one of the top jiu-jitsu like arsenals in his game. And I guess guys don't want to fight him. So it's great to see him fight again. And I would not be surprised if he, just grapples him to death and maybe gets a, like a third round submission, the rear naked choke, arm bar, whatever, arm triangle, whatever. Because Ryan Hall, Ryan Hall is one of those guys that, some guys grappling can be boring at times. To me, he makes it like exciting. It's like you want to see him like submit a guy, kind of like Damian Maia at times was. And the other prelim fight is Carlos Condit against Max Griffin. Carlos Condit is a guy who's been one of the more entertaining fighters in his whole career, going back to like the mid 2000s. Fought for a world title against George St. Pierre back today, and against Robbie Lawler, and one of the great fights of all time, him and Robbie Lawler, which I recommend. If anyone doesn't watch it, go watch it if you get a chance. You'll love it. And he's near a tail end of his career. He's not, he's older. He's not tail end. I mean, for all I know, I wouldn't be surprised in his last fight. I doubt it, but you never know with fighters, especially this stage in the career. Max Griffin typically is a guy who's always been a solid fighter for the most part. Usually wins some, lose some. Usually good fighters tend to beat him typically. And I think he's won, I believe, like 2 in a row or like 3 out of 4, something like that. I know he's been trending upward recently. And being a guy like Carlos Condit, who is a legend, that would definitely be a great booster for Max Griffin's career. And that's the feature prelim of this card, which like I said, I mean, I would love to see what happens with the young guy, Max Griffin, who's younger than him. I forget his age, Max Griffin, versus the old veteran. See if he can capitalize and take out the old line, or the old line has a little more fight in him.
Got. So yeah, Max Griffin. I was gonna take a look to see how old is Max Griffin. To see, I was gonna check it out. And anything? Okay, now let's go back to the card again, and let me get your take on who you think was gonna win and who you think and what are your feeling on that? Let's you want to start with the let's stay with the Griffin. But first thing first, let me hold on a second, Austin. Let me bring in my partner there. Divine, what's going on, Mr. Divine? How are you, sir? Welcome to the program.
Yo, salute everybody. Austin, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Divine?
Let me bring in my partner there.
There, echo.
What's going on, Mr. Divine? Yeah, we have an echo. Welcome to the program.
I'm doing good. Let me everybody. Austin, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Divine?
I got the YouTube. Someone has a YouTube on Austin.
That was me.
Okay, all right. What's going on?
Salute to everybody, man. I'm glad to be here tonight. Ready to get into a little sports talk. I heard y'all going over the UFC thing, man. Excited to hear what y'all got going on there with the McGregor fight. I think that's gonna be pretty awesome. So I'm waiting to see. But good show, man. Way to put that down, and I'm ready, man. Glad to be in here though. I'm glad y'all safe down here in Orlando. We had a lot of rain today, so the storm passed everybody by, so that's good. Hope everybody got through that that hurricane thing and everybody's safe. Other than that, BX, man, I'm here with you, man. Bronx Sports Jedi. I'm ready to get into it, my brother.
I appreciate it. We're going through the card, and we're going to ask Austin's opinion on each and every one of these fights. What he thinks is going to win, and who's who and why. His opinion on it. And before we move on to the basketball and the baseball program part of it, what's the guy's name? Austin, was Max Griffin.
Max Griffin, yes.
Max Griffin, and let me get this out of the way so we can get Divine in here. Let's go with that card. Who do you think is going to win that fight, Austin? And who do you like?
I'm going Max Griffin. I think normally if it was a few years ago, I'll pick Carlos Condit easily, but he's older and he's slowing down, and his best days are clearly behind him. And I think Max Griffin's been on a better tear, done better recently, and I think he's gonna pull off the victory, probably by decision. I mean, like some of these fights, I can probably have a feeling where it's gonna go. Others, I have no idea what's gonna happen, but I think
your gut feeling. Max Griffin is 35 and Condit is 37. He's 35.
Really?
Yeah, it's surprising. He's surprised there right there. He's 35 years old. He was born in 1985. And Carlos Condit is 37 years old. So you got a guys of 2 years of difference. You like Griffin on this fight. Let's look at the card as well. Let me move this over here like that so we don't block everybody here. I don't mind blocking my face there, but I want everyone to see my guest here. You want to go with the O'Malley and the Montague fight, or do you?
Yeah, I'll go with O'Malley and Montague because I think O'Malley's gonna win personally.
Okay.
Like I could see second round, maybe like TKO, considering Montague, this is like his first UFC fight, and like I said, he just picked up like recently, considering O'Malley's original opponent pulled out, and 2-2 last 4. Especially in the regional scene. I mean, against Sean O'Malley, who's a lot better than most of the guys he's probably actually fought. I think O'Malley should be easy night for O'Malley, but you never know, considering we can have 2 weeks notice, new point change. Maybe I can mess up O'Malley's game plan. Doubt it, but you never know. But like I said, I'm picking O'Malley second round TKO.
Molly TKO. We're gonna. Do you want to do the ladies? Is unpredictable. We'll leave that alone because we don't know too much of the ladies to pick that to see who We're gonna say the winner is gonna be the sacrificial lamb for Amanda Nunes. Can we agree to agree on that one?
Yeah, probably. If they have a fighter, keep winning up, get a title fight, sacrificial lamb. Like I said, I have to see to believe it. That Amanda loses. I have to see it before I say it.
Right. And Divine, our former NFL North Carolina Panther, Greg Hardy, he's been in the UFC. I've been following his career since his 11th fight. He's in the co-main event, the pre-co-main event. He's going to be fighting, it's going to be his 11th bout in the UFC. I think he has like 2 losses, if I'm mistaken, Austin. 2 losses, Greg Hardy.
Yeah, 2. Well, 3 technically, but one was a DQ. If you remember that ESPN show.
Yeah, that DQ really didn't count. He's not that bad of a fighter. He's a striker. It's good to see him use that aggression on the mat instead of off the court. But I'm glad he's doing something positive with his life. Greg Hardy. He's not a bad fighter, Divine. I've been watching him fight all his career in the UFC. Austin's been telling me, hey, Greg Hardy's fighting, and I'm eyeballs to it. And I like to see kind of a redemption story. It doesn't excuse what happened, but that's in the past. Hopefully he learns his lesson, but he's doing something with his career with a UFC post NFL career, and not bad fighter. This is something that he's at a crossroads in his UFC career. He's going to continue to excel in the UFC, or he's just going to be another guy who just tried it and just didn't work out. So interesting to see. I like Greg Hardy to win that fight. I think he'll win. I think he'll probably get a 3rd round knockout. He has power.
He does.
Yeah, absolutely. He lost his last fight, if I'm not mistaken, just recently.
Yeah, you're right.
That fight, and but he's an athlete, man. He's a football athlete, big guy, strong. He got the physical tools. I don't know how much of I haven't watched too many of his fights, so I don't know his technique, what type of style he does. Is he just like a boxer or a wrestler? I'm not sure what he does because I really wasn't tuned into him. But just from an athletic standpoint, the man is strong. And I'm quite sure if he got skilled, then you just never doubt an athlete. Athletes are athletes. That's why they built that way. And if he got the mentality to be 10, 11, and 3, basically a 2 point whatever in the UFC, and coming into out of a football career, that's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. He coming in a different sport. But one thing about it, he used to fighting in the trenches. Back he played football in the trenches. So he probably put that together with what skill he had and developed himself, and let's see what he do. Like you said, redemption project, but second time around better than the first time. Let's see how he get down, man. I think he'll win though. I think he'll win this one.
Yeah, he's a striker. He's a striker, a fighter, and Austin, what do you think on that one?
That's a tough one because I really, Tai Tuivasa, no joke. He's 11-1. He's got like 10 knockouts, so it's not an easy fight for Greg Hardy. Tybor to Tai Tuivasa is not exactly the easiest, but it's I go back and forth for this fight. By the way, this is for the next 2 fights. It's back and forth for me. That's a preview, I feel, but we'll get to them eventually. But it's like they both got knockout power, and they're both skiing.
A toss up for you in your book?
I'm going Greg. It's a toss up, but I'll go Greg Hardy 3rd round, like 2nd, 3rd round. Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Tai Tuivasa beats him. Wouldn't be surprised. Okay,
cool. And then we have the co-main event, Burns versus Wonderboy Thompson. Like you said, that's a welterweight battle. Winner might get Usman in an elimination fight.
Actually, if Wonderboy wins, Gilbert because he just lost.
He just lost. Okay, so Wonderboy, he has the right to compete for or demand a fight with the champ. Who do you like there? Wonderboy? You like Burns? Do you think Burns will bounce back from that loss?
Tough one. This is another one. It's like it's pick 'em. It's like I go back and forth because I can see Gilbert winning because Gilbert, he lost to Usman in title fight in February. He hurt Usman, and he was on a roll before in the welterweight division before he lost. He's got great jiu-jitsu. If the fight goes to the mat, I do not like Wonderboy's chances at all if the fight goes to the mat. But that's the key, because Wonderboy is not easy to get down. He's really not. You have like a high level wrestling, which Gilbert, jiu-jitsu and wrestling aren't the same thing. There's differences to that. And Wonderboy has always been tricky for most guys. That karate, kickboxing style is so tricky that it kind of messes with guys up. Like they have a game plan, they go in and like they can't hit him, he hits them. He uses kicks to kick, keep you a distance. He's got power. Sometimes you're focused on the kicks, you forget that he can knock you out with his hands, and then he just catches you, and then you're fucking hurt and things like that. So it's like, man, it's a tough one, but you know what? It's a toss up, but I'm going Wonder Boy. I think he's on a roll. And I think he'll decision Gilbert. I think he'll win by decision.
Divine, any thought? Want to pick a guy?
I'm gonna go with the wise man on the panel. I think I agree with Austin on that one. The wise man on the panel on that one. So yeah, I agree with everything what Austin said. I second that. So I definitely take him.
I would like to take Wonder Boy. I'm going to be different. I'm going to go ahead with Burns in the decision. I think he'll win a decision. I think that one will not finish in a TKO or submission. I'm going to go ahead and take a decision. A tough decision, maybe a controversial decision. They might think that Wonder Boy might have won and they gave it to Burns, that type of deal for a co-main event. But it's going to be, I think that one's going to be pretty interesting fight. There's going to be moments and I think they're going to really please the show. I think they're really going to warm up the crowd for the main event. And we all know what the main event is, guys. It's going to be Poirier and McGregor. It's going to be strikers. There's going to be you punch me, I'm going to punch you, and we're going to throw those hands. It's the third trilogy fight, and each guy wants to knock the next guy out and say, hey, I took the series, and you know what? I'm right now one of the top dog in this division, and I just want to continue, staple my name and solidify it, and maybe try to call Khabib out. I'm thinking I'm gonna go actually with McGregor on this one because he's the showman. He's the money man right now. He's the MMA version of Floyd Mayweather, like I was saying, and I think he wins this one. And I think this one is gonna go the distance in a decision. I would like to see a knockout, but I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna be totally different with it. What do you think, Divine?
Wow. I don't think McGregor win this one. I think McGregor is getting to a point in his career now where he ain't the creme de la creme to me. You know what I mean? His time is starting to go toward the other direction. Like a basketball player, when they get to a certain age, they start going the other way. And I just think that's where McGregor's at in his career. I think he done had his days. He done made his money. He done beat up some of the best jokers. He done fought some of the best jokers. But I also think now he's going the other way to me. I think these young guys and these other guys I hear, man, are coming up. They want to be where he at. You know what I mean? And but he's a veteran. He's a veteran in the sport now to me. So I'll see, man. But I don't think he win this one. I think this might be the one that he said, you know what? Am I gonna go a couple more fights, or I'd have made enough money? It's a wrap. I don't know, but I'm going the other way though, definitely. Austin?
Wow. Yeah, this is very exciting. I mean, trilogy fights are always exciting. MMA, something combat sports appreciate. I mean, we have another trilogy in a few weeks in boxing, though, Fury and Wilder, but that's a different story. But yeah, very exciting. I'm going with actually. You know what? I think I said it in the UFC 263 preview. We were talking briefly about the McGregor Poirier fight, and I'm sticking with the same decision. Conor McGregor, I think he wins this fight. I think he wins it third round TKO. I know it sounds weird, but the first fight McGregor won, first round TKO. Second fight Poirier won, second round TKO. I wouldn't be surprised if the third round is a TKO. I don't think. I mean, personally, that's maybe not. Maybe it's gonna be like, well, I shouldn't say this. The third Frazier and Ali fight, how Derla Manila, how that was like, they go the distance, went 14 round before the fight was stopped because Frazier's cornerman threw the towel. But still, maybe it can go like a bit, it could be like decision, like an epic war. Like this is like all-time classic fight, which we hopefully it is. We all want that. We want to be able to talk about this fight 5-10 years down the road. But I can see it being decision. Also, McGregor personally, even though I did mention earlier, McGregor tends to not do as well in the later rounds. But I do think McGregor, he's back against the wall. He tends to come through. Where it'd be, the second Diaz fight, after he lost to Diaz 5 months earlier, he came back on that fight. in the fourth round, he got like a second burst of energy. He was able to win that round, which won the fight. And then also the Cowboy fight coming off, the Habib loss and the year not fighting, he's able to win that fight in 40 seconds. It he tends to usually do well and back against the wall, McGregor. And I think he's more motivated. I see him in interviews and things like that. He's more confident and seems like his old self. Now, that might not be anything because some guys might seem like themselves, but a guy can have the number or a guy might be making great adjustments. And Poirier is a great fighter. I don't want to disrespect him. He's been consistently one of the best fighters in the 155 division for like the last 6-7 years. So, even though, like I said, it could be Poirier, but in decision, but I am going McGregor third round TKO. He always has Conor magic, and I think he still has one more like great magic run in it. Well, not magic run, but one gonna pull another rabbit out the hat, basically. And like I said, whoever wins this fight is gonna fight Charles Oliveira for the 155 title, basically. So I think more, makes this fight more bigger.
I would like to see. I would like to see Poirier versus Oliveira. In my opinion, Ben McGregor and Oliveira, but hey, we both it's 2-1 here with McGregor. I'm just thinking because of the showmanship, the money. Right now, even though UFC is very popular, and it draws, but if you got another guy that could transcend it, like Conor McGregor transcends it, I could see, that him winning that fight. I'm not saying that there's a fix or anything, but I could just see him getting giddy up or just taking that, like you said, that second level and win it. Now, let me ask a question to you guys both. Do you think any chance if any one of these McGregor wins convincingly, like knockout, any chance he'll try to pry Khabib out of retirement? I'll throw that first to Divine.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't see why not, man. He's a showman. You know what I mean? That's what he do. You know what I mean? That's what he do. He's a showman. And he like you said, he's the Floyd Mayweather of that sport. You know what I mean? And the money right, money talk, BS walk. You know how it go. So I think if the money right and the fight is right, he ain't got nothing to lose but gain more. So yeah, I think he'd take that. No doubt about it. I would ask him. That'd be. You know how much money he make off that fight? Oh my goodness. So I definitely would do it from a business standpoint. From a fighting standpoint, I don't know. My man, pretty nice, but McGregor's a tough dude, man. He is who he is for a reason. So I'm not even doubting in this fight. I just think that the fight that he having coming up, I just wanted to think. I think my man can give it to him maybe if he do it again because he know how McGregor fights. So that's why I picked the first fight, McGregor. But this one, yeah, I would love to see that though, BX. I think that'd be a nice fight, bro. I can't even call that, but that'd be an awesome fight.
Austin, what do you think? You think you'll be able to entice him to come up?
No, he won't. Habib. The problem with Habib is if he wants to come back, the thing is he has to get his mom basically told him, look, don't fight again, and he's very like family oriented. And unless his mom says, yeah, you can fight again, nah, don't fight. Considering how close he was to his father, and his father died recently, and like a year ago. And also, even before that, he didn't want to fight Conor again. He really did not want. He kept asking like ridiculous demands that he knew the UFC wasn't going to deliver to prove a point that he did not want to give Conor the rematch. I think part of him likes the fact that knowing that forever, he can always throw back to the fact that he dominated McGregor in their fights, and that Hamber has to live with that for the rest of his life. And
so let me throw out another question then. Who is there a fighter currently on the UFC roster that could call out and entice a Khabib to come out of retirement and fight? Would it be Oliveira?
Not possibly. I doubt it, but maybe if he gets on a roll and dominates, considering Habib vacated the title and Oliveira picked it up and just dominated the division. I highly doubt it. I'm gonna go like 10%. The only fighter that was George St. Pierre, because that was always the dream matchup, considering those two considered greatest fights of all time. But it never happened. I think because for a while George was iffy, but then George agreed to it. But then the UFC was kind of being difficult with it, and then Habib's retirement, the whole his father dying thing kind of like hurt it because Habib's father hadn't died. I do believe that him and George St. Pierre would have already fought already, and which would have been a massive fight, big, giant, enormous fight, especially for GOAT status in UFC MMA. But yeah, there's no one I don't see who can get Habib out of retirement personally.
What about you, Devon? You think anyone else other than McGregor could call out Habib or entice him to come out of retirement?
I think McGregor is the ultimate one. I think I think that would be the one. That's hard to say, man. I'm not familiar with everybody in this class and what he do, so Conor McGregor is the one that comes to mind to me because of his nostalgia, his gamemanship, his attitude.
It's right here.
Yeah, right. He and like I said, money talk. You know what I mean? That's the
yes.
I mean, money talk. I mean, listen, man. Somebody say, listen, I throw you 2 times we did the last fight, or even a Muay. And you know what? They ain't gonna be in that sport forever. They need money in the bank. You know what I mean? So that's what fighters do. Not only because of the money, don't get me wrong, because they love the sport. You know what I mean? Some they dedicated to their sport and they love it. They love it with a passion. They gonna like, man, I gotta fight this dude. You know what I mean? That's their heart. Just tell them I gotta fight this guy. You know what I mean? I was born to do this, and you just never know, man. Sometimes you just gotta go what you do best. And I think that guy Habib might say, listen, whatever, I gotta do this fight. You know what I mean? I need the money. It's a good fight, and I do want to try to beat this man. You know what I mean? So yeah, you put all them combinations together, I can see it happening. I don't know too many people in the UFC that got that much, like I said, much nostalgia to make him want to come out of retirement other than Conor McGregor. I mean, it's just somebody I'm missing, you know what I mean? Because I'm not a deli tuner. But just from that standpoint, yeah, Conor McGregor pull him out of there. Go get the money. That's what he going to say.
Yeah. I think Conor is one of the most polarizing fighter that could polarize that guy out of retirement. Maybe, and maybe Oliveira, because Oliveira right now is hot, in my opinion. Austin, let me ask you a question. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Pitbull McGee? I know you're going to come back when it's a week before or a couple of days before this fight. Just give us a quick little bit of a insider preview for guys that don't know about this fight, about these fighters, what to expect, and then we'll break it down more when you come back on to break this fight down. But here's the fight that's coming up Saturday the 31st on Showtime, Bellator, and it's going to be Pitbull versus McKinney. It says it's going to be fireworks. It's going to be for the Forum in Los Angeles. And Austin, give us a little breakdown, a little sneak peek of what to expect, or what do you think is going to happen here, or for all of us that don't know too much about the Bellator, the featherweight or world title is going to be on the line. Go ahead, Austin.
This is probably the most excited Bellator fight I've ever been excited for a Bellator fight personally. Like, this is one of the best, most important fights in Bellator history. I mean, you have Pitbull, who's arguably the best fighter ever in Bellator history. Arguably, him and Michael Chandler is the debate between two. I know Pitbull beat Chandler. The stoppage was kind of questionable, but that's another story for another day. But still, Pitbull is pretty successful. Some call him the best 145 fighter in all of MMA, which you can make an argument he is the best 145er in all of MMA right now. Even I think better than a lot of UFC guys. I think he beats a lot of shit of them personally. Beats a lot of them. But then you have AJ McKee, who's 17-0, by the way, who all his fights are in Bellator. And they're both, and AJ McKee's won in spectacular ways. Same with Pitbull. Pitbull's had like first round knockouts. I mean, just a first round submission is in the semifinals, Pitbull. Then McKee had like a crazy, he invented his own submission called the guillotine. It's like a guillotine, but his own version of it too, which is kind of pretty dope. In the I think it was semifinals? Yeah, it was semifinals he did. Then he had like an 8-second victory in I think the first round of the tournament. I mean, these are the two best featherweights in Bellator right now. Two best who have amazing victories. Meeting in the finals. And if you're Bellator, you can't be happier at this. McKee has a chance to be a true star, homegrown, legitimately young, comes from some of a fighter too. And Pitbull, same thing in Brazil. The Pitbull brothers, him and his brother, like stars over in Brazil, and Pitbull, has a chance to really add to his more legacy because there was that curiosity from UFC fans who maybe who heard of him but not aware of him. Who every time he keeps winning, keeps people more interested in him because he does talk a lot of shit too. Warranted though because he's pretty good. He's very confident in himself. That makes sense. And this is they both can knock each other out. They both had impressive submission victories. They're very complete mix of martial artists, and it's just I can't wait for this fight. I mean, this is so exciting. I mean, if you're a fight fan, you can how can you not enjoy for this? I mean, if you're a UFC fan, you can't enjoy this. I mean, you might as well be called Zuffa Zombie, which is an old MMA term for people who watch UFC and then that's MMA, Zuffa Zombie, because Zuffa that's the parent company UFC. And that's a whole that's like MMA like terminology right there. That's like kind of like to explain more about detail.
Awesome.
Later on.
I'm gonna take a quick break. Austin, you're gonna stick around for the other segments.
Maybe probably not.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna take a quick break and then we'll
dogs are acting up.
All right, thank you, Austin, for joining us. That's the Talking Sport Jedi talking with Austin. He'll be back to break down that fight that we just talked about for the preview Bellator MMA. I'm gonna take a quick break and then we'll get into the NBA, the MLB, and we'll wrap this up. So we appreciate it, Austin. Again, thank you so much, and we appreciate everything you do and bring that insight for us, our insight, and we'll be right back.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
And we're going to talk with the NBA here. We're my pleasure to have Divine for Knicks Real Talk, my co-host here on Bronx Jedi Sports Jedi Network, and also Knicks Real Talk. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals. We all seen last time we spoke. We crowned the Eastern Conference champion in the Milwaukee Bucks, and we know they were playing the Western Conference champion, the Phoenix Suns. And right now, 1-0. You saw the Phoenix Suns take the first game. Chris Paul had a wonderful game, all-around balanced scoring for Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Devin Booker. It was their own version of the Big Three. Take game one. Giannis gave it a good effort. He gave a courageous effort. He went out there, and it just wasn't enough firepower, in my opinion, from the Phoenix Suns. They took care of home court. They dominated. They won. They pulled away with the game, and though the first 3 quarters were really close game, back and forth, and then they just saw the talent just take over. Divine, what do you think of game one? How that went?
Yeah, to me it was a matter of at the end of the game they almost Milwaukee almost had a chance to get in that game when Giannis fumbled that turnover right there in the paint, would have cut it to like 7-6, and because they had the momentum swing. It was a good game. Chris Paul ramped them up. DeAndre Ayton, he was dominant. He had a dominant night down there. Booker did Booker. Crowder played some good defense, but I like the way Milwaukee played. I wasn't too concerned. I think Milwaukee hung in there, man. They got down 20. When I see them make runs like that in Phoenix, that gives me a little bit of optimism about what they could do, because you down 20 going into the fourth quarter and you get that thing down to 7 or 8, and you just with a Giannis turnover in the paint, maybe from even changing the momentum. So from that standpoint, with Giannis coming in not practicing a week, he didn't have a lot of points, but he had a double-double. He was aggressive, went to the goal, didn't shoot a lot of jump shot, which was good. Chris Middleton, they try to do their thing. I think it's going to be just what it is. It's Phoenix win their home games, Milwaukee win their home games, but I wouldn't doubt if Milwaukee come out. That might be tonight, if I'm not mistaken, the game.
Yes.
Yeah, it might not be. I wouldn't doubt Milwaukee win tonight. It could be that type of series because I do think that their defense keeps them in these games. I think they got a good chance to win these games because of their defense. And let's see what Giannis do on his second game back. Maybe have a little bit more rhythm. But I like how aggressive he was playing. But you got to salute Chris Paul though. Chris Paul just did what he had to do. You could see that he wanted that championship bad, and that's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing that that's what makes it even tough for Milwaukee. I know Giannis wanted bad, but that man wanted bad. You know what I mean? So that it's gonna be the fight of wills. Because I think both teams to me, each one could beat one, no doubt about that. I know the Bucks could beat them just like they could beat the Bucks, and I do believe that. I don't think it's they better than the Bucks. I ain't gonna say the Bucks is better than them. I think they're two good teams, so both of them got a chance to win it. But I think it's gonna be who hungrier, BX. I think who's going to be more hungry. I think the hungry team will win. You know what I mean? And the key for Milwaukee, they need to steal one in Phoenix for sure. You know what I mean? Because if not, then it's over. You know what I mean? The four games in Phoenix, it's a wrap. But if they still won in Phoenix, then you never know. It could swing their way as well.
Yeah, I think the game is tonight at 9:00. It's about to tip off any minute now. We won't be on the screen too long, so we can watch it. And I think I hope the series go a little length because I think to the average NBA fan, it's not appeasing. Let me take that back. Non-NBA fans that only like to watch finals is not too much of an attractive matchup. There's the usual suspects in there, but as an NBA fan who likes basketball, like yourself and myself, it's really intriguing because I think these two teams play basketball correctly and they play as a team, despite having their players that they have the firepower and the superstar in Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday. Then you balance it out with Aiden, the Booker, and Paul, and then you got Cameron Payne. Chris Paul, 32 points last game, 4 rebounds, 9 assists. And then you have three guys scoring over 20 plus points. And Aiden 22 points with 19 rebounds. Divine. 19 rebounds. That's wow, what a dominant performance on the glass. Who says that big man is dead? We've seen it in these playoffs. Big man has an impact. We saw it with Capella. We've seen it now. We've seen it, with Aiden, and even Brook Lopez had a really strong game. Closing out and playing against the Hawks, and then this first game too. And then you had Devin Booker with 27.6 assists and 2 rebounds. And I'm gonna go over the Milwaukee Bucks. They were led by Antetokounmpo had 20 points. He had also 17 rebounds with a hyper-expended lead. That's crazy the amount of rebounds that these guys are getting, and especially him on a hyper-extended lead. You had 17 points, like I said, from Brook Lopez. He was really key. He was 3 of 5 from 3-point land. That's a stretch 5 if you ask me, in my opinion. And Chris Middleton logged in with 29 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. They just need a little more from Holiday. He did have 10 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists and 7 rebounds. It was 3 rebounds and an assist away from a triple double. But man, that's nice balancing, and we take it for granted. It's a pretty good matchup if you really like basketball. If you're a basketball purist, this is a really good finals. If you ask me,
absolutely.
Yeah, and let's give it a shot. Let's watch it. The only criticism I do have, I wish it'll start at 8:00 for personal reasons, selfish reasons. But it's been like that for years. The NBA. I wish their finals would be at 8:00 so that the younger children. I understand it's summertime and kids are not going to school, but there's still parents that still keep their young kids on a time restriction to sleep. At least to get them children at least to watch the first half. In the summertime, I wish they would have put the game at 8:00 regardless. But that's another whole story. But other than that, it's a good final, Divine. I can't. There's nothing to complain about there.
Not at all. Yeah, real quick on your point about the timeline. I think the reason why they can't do it is because they 3 hours West Coast time. They start the game at 8:00. Over it'll be 5:00 over there. You know what I mean? People just getting off work at 5. They would have to go. Yeah, so I think. That's why they have to do it like that at 9, just so that people can say, I can get off work or I can get home from school and I can get to the arena. With that 3 hour time difference on the West Coast. Now you're right. That thing does up, but I guess that's the only way they can really play it when it comes to that West Coast time. So but yeah, it's been good, man. I think Middleton. I'm not Middleton. Drew Holiday got to have a big game, a bigger game than he had for these guys to really, because Chris Paul, that plus minus against Chris Paul must have been way off the chart. Chris Paul, he was on the plus side, he was on the minus side by almost 20 points because if Chris Paul had 32, he only had 10. That's a 22-point swing at the point guard position. You know what I mean? And 9 assists. You know what I mean? So that them, so he got to slow Chris Paul down, and he got to score a little more to kind of bring that plus minus almost even for the point guard spot. Because if not, the Phoenix will win that all the time.
Now, the only thing that concerns me, Divine, from the Milwaukee Bucks, they can't get any. They didn't get much scoring, too much from anywhere else. But other than they had balanced scoring. PJ Tucker, Pat McCulloch, 7-8 points, 5 from Bobby Portis, and Forbes. But they need more scoring, a little more from the bench because Phoenix, they got guys. Cameron Payne had 10 points. You had 14 points from Mikal Bridges. You had another Cameron Johnson with 10 points, double figures. And the only game that I'm surprised, Jay Crowder had a really quiet game. He had a point. He played 33 minutes. He had 9 rebounds. He really didn't give him much, and they still won. So it's a little bit of concern, in my opinion, if Crowder. And I'm not saying Crowder is all end all. He doesn't move the needle, but he's a big important role player. He could be a pest.
Yeah,
he could be a pest. And if he didn't have that much of a strong impact on scoring wise, and even all around, it's got to be a little bit concerning for Milwaukee Bucks going forward. You just got to be a little concerned if that guy gets going along with the other shooters around Chris Paul. And Chris Paul, it could be a lot of people saying a gentleman's sweep. I'm hoping it's not. I'm not picking anyone there. I'm just hoping for longevity, length. I personally don't have a good dog in the fight. You know me. We're Knicks real fans. Fans, and we don't want to see. Personally, I don't want neither one to win. I want the Knicks to win the title this year. So, but they're not there right now. So, and I just don't mind. I want to see a long fought series. So NBA fans could, like real hardcore NBA fans could really enjoy and put a bow to this 72 game madness of a season, which was a really entertaining, appealing, very satisfying for most of us fans, and just put a bow on it. Even though it's not our team, but just give it a 7-game dogfight. I hope it goes down to the last 2 possessions. And who could get a defensive stop, and maybe somebody hits a clutch shot, and man, what a series. I hope it goes an epic 7 games. I hope it doesn't go on a gentleman's sweep or a 4-game sweep. I hope it really gives you, something that we could talk for years, because it'll be wonderful saying, you know what, that the same old folks didn't come in, but when the same old folks weren't in the finals, man, what a freaking classic series we had. So that's what I'm hoping for the league, and I'm hoping for as a basketball fan that it goes that length and goes that forward with it, and I'm hoping that it goes that way. And put it this way, Divine, think about it. There's going to be only, if it goes Phoenix way, there's only going to be one person that didn't win a ring on that banana boat.
Yep. He'll get his in New York next year.
Oh man, from your lips, from your lips to the divine provider above, man.
But you know what's interesting though? The both of them teams, and maybe it's a good series. I was picking Milwaukee to win just due to the fact I think they got the better team. I'm talking about for defense. I'm talking about the way they play. They defense got a real good defense team. They both got superstars, and I think Chris Middleton is so underrated, and even Drew Holiday. But when you look at Phoenix, you also got to look at what Chris Paul and Devin Booker doing in that backcourt, and Mikal Bridges, his defense is underrated. Jay Crowder's defense is underrated. But I also do think they wasn't, like, to me, just like if KD wouldn't have stepped on that 3-point line, Giannis wouldn't have been there. If Kawhi Leonard would have been playing them, they wouldn't have been there. You know what I mean? So I don't, so they ain't. I didn't have them 2 there anyway. I really did, but I knew that I had Giannis and going to the finals when a lot of people had the Nets. I had Philadelphia and Giannis and them. Obviously, you can see what happened in Philly, but I had Milwaukee. When Milwaukee got Drew Holiday, they picked up PJ Tucker. They're going to the finals. Because I just knew that the team they put around Giannis was solid, hard, defensive. Drew Holiday, Tucker played defense. You know what I mean? Them boys get down like that. Antetokounmpo plays defense. Brook Lopez block shots. You know what I mean? Chris Middleton, they get down there and play. That's a really underrated defense team they got down there. And I knew that defense would take them past Brooklyn and that's what happened. So, But I like Giannis and Chandler. I don't have a problem either way. BS, like you said, I'll be happy for Chris Paul. I just be happy for him because he's been in this league a long time. He one of the best to ever put on pick up a basketball and dribble it at the point guard spot in the NBA. So it's well deserved for him to get a ring, go out on top. But at the same time, I see the work Giannis and them boys put in. I see the moves they made, and I just thought that they made some really good moves in the off season, and I think it panned out really well for them. So who to say that this game here tonight, Brent Forbes don't get hot? Who to say Portis don't get hot? You know what I mean? So it could go either way. Just like Jay Crowder could get hot and them cats, it applied to Milwaukee too. Because they say if that boy Forbes start knocking down threes, and Bobby Portis start backing cats in and shooting his three ball. Then you get a little contribution from Jeff Teague and them. You might have a 1-1 series tonight, buddy. We have to see.
It could, but if DeAndre Ayton keeps dominating the glass and becoming a problem, because I don't think even though Brook Lopez has the size, but Brook Lopez is never known as a really good rebounder. I think Bobby Portis is going to be a big key factor. I think Bobby Portis could get down and dirty in the paint and rebound with Aiden, but I think Aiden is just a bit taller, a little bit too bigger and size-wise, and I think Portis will do his thing. He'll battle. He'll do he'll give him fits, but I don't think they could contain Aiden right now on the glass, offensive and defensively, and they just got so many weapons and shooters around there. Now, one key that Milwaukee I think is missing is DiVincenzo being down. He's hurt for the year, but man, I think they're gonna miss him in the series because DiVincenzo could shoot, man, and he could actually neutralize some of the shooting that the Suns as well has on their team, because they got a lot of good shooters, man. They're dangerous, and these guys, Booker and Paul, they're smart. They don't mind passing the rock around to their shooters and rely on their open shooters. So, man, I like I said, man, I'm excited. I hope it goes length. I hope it goes long. I hope it's a long series, and I hope the ratings back it up. I hope the folks get to watch these games, enjoy it. Let's give it a chance. Let's enjoy it. Let's watch it. It's not the same usual suspects. There's nothing wrong with the same usual suspects because they're there because they entertain. They're the best in the world, and it's good to see them there. But sometimes it's good to see something different. The other superstars on the league, Middleton is a superstar in my opinion. Paul Booker's an up and coming superstar. Holiday is like that low B level superstar that's ready to ascend to the A if he has a good series. So there's a lot of good players that are on the cusp of becoming great, and these finals could elevate them. And that's what we want. I think the league wants to see that parity. They want to see that balance around with the players taking that next level. So like I said, I hope it goes up high. I hope they go long, and I hope it really gets an entertaining series, and we get the best of this year, of this condensed season, and we move forward because we all know that the NBA draft is coming around the corner, and we know that and then we got the summer league that we're all looking forward to. And before we move on, I wanted to ask you, what do we have on tap for Knicks Real Talk tomorrow at 9:00, Divine?
Yeah, we're gonna go over the Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickly team select experience. It's gonna be one of our segments. We're gonna go to the art. What's the next step of RJ Barrett's maturation for next season? We're gonna get into that segment. We also want to get into the draft. The people who you think we're gonna do in the draft, your mocks, whatever the case may be. Or if we're gonna be any trades at the draft, and then we're gonna get into that free agency, and and then we'll see what's going on with the buzz around the trade chat around the Knicks land. So we're gonna get into all that tomorrow, man. It should be out. Make sure y'all tune in 9 p.m. Knicks Real Talk, the night show. We're gonna be in there tonight. Me and Bronx Jedi. We're just gonna get into some Knicks talk, man. And y'all go in there and like and subscribe, check the channel out, and all that good stuff, man. And we'll see y'all tomorrow night. It's gonna be popping as usual, man. We're gonna get it in tomorrow night, man. So y'all make sure y'all chime in, 9 o'clock, and let's get it popping.
Yeah, make sure we hit that notification bell when we go on live. We want you to be part of it. Join us. We are an audience participation program, both here on Bronx Sports Jedi Network and on Knicks Real Talk. We want you to chime in, salute, say hello in the chat. Don't be shy. Come on in and say hello. Give us a comment. If you see a sports take that you want us to discuss, in this program, any different sport here or anything related with the Knicks or NBA on Knicks Real Talk, go ahead and submit it in the chat. We actually do read our chats. We actually do talk to the panel, to the chat members, and every comment that comes on in there, As long as it's PG, guys, as long as it's everything G-rated, we'll read it and we'll answer it and we'll give you our best opinion and our knowledge, and we don't shy away from anyone's comments, and we really encourage you to participate on that. And that's one thing that makes our show that gives us that platform that we really look forward to listening from you guys, feedback from you guys, hearing from you guys, because we do these programs, because we want to entertain and be part of your universe. You're giving us your time, and we value it, and we want to hear your opinions, and that's why we ask you guys to encourage you to come talk on the chat with us on the comment. God bless you. And we move forward with that. We crave to hear from you, and we appreciate it. Hit those likes, hit that subscribe, hit our notification bell here as well. Whenever we come on, we'd like you to also be part of us. You're part of the Bronx Jedi Sports Jedi family and Nick's Real Talk family. And also on Saturdays, guys, don't forget For the Love of the Game podcast. They're also part of the family of our network, and they're in collaboration with us. And we would like you guys to also give them a shot and listen to them. We're going to talk about different sports as well. And to wrap this off, let's go with the MLB. We all know that MLB. I'm going to salute your Mets. Your Mets are on fire. Your Mets are the game versus the Pittsburgh Pirates was rained out due to inclement weather. Up and down the East Coast of the East Coast, it's a lot of rain due to the storms and the bad inclement weather. We saw that we dodged a bullet here with the hurricane or the tropical storm in Florida. Now it's moving through your part of the woods, and it's going to be pestering the eastern coast up by the northern east coast for the weekend. But the Mets are sitting pretty in first place in the National League East at 45-38. They hold a 4-game lead on the Washington Nationals. They won that game yesterday against the Milwaukee Brewers. DeGrom, game 1 of the doubleheader. DeGrom he was dominant, even though despite the fact he gave up 2 solo shots. He was one of the second fastest player in Major League history with 198 games of 15,000 strikeouts. Salute to Jacob DeGrom. Only Yu Darvish has beaten into that record. But Jacob DeGrom, he's on another planet pitching wise, and it's good to see that Peralta came off the bench and tied the game in the 9th inning, and preserve that loss that Jacob was going to get that loss despite it was a 7th inning game. And we saw in the 8th inning Jeff McNeil with the single, and they won the game in extra innings. What a resilience! What a gritty performance by the New York Mets all around. Everyone is stepping up. Everyone's hitting. Everyone is being part of that. What's your opinion on game 1 on that? You see what do you think on? And salute to the Mets and Jacob DeGrom. What's your thought?
Yeah, number one, man. I mean, the Mets. They've been they've been resilient all year. They almost made me think of the Knicks this year. I mean, they really do. They're resilient. They go hard, and I think they're getting healthy now. I mean, I was saying, they're getting healthy, and and if DeGrom was to keep doing what he's doing, and you just never know. Syndergaard might get back in the mix before the end of the season. I do think that as our bats come around, we still that another power hitter away. And I'm looking at Josh Donaldson thing going on out there. You know what I mean? Man, you can get that. You can get him in here somehow. That'd be crazy. But we playing good ball. DeGrom is pitching well. I think he's gonna skip the All-Star game though. Yes. He won't be involved in the All-Star game, but I understand that, but due to probably the physical nature of everything. But we just gotta continue. The Mets gotta continue going hard, man. Be like the way you've been doing all year. Stay consistent. Try to win series. The key is to win the series. If you win series, you there. You know what I mean? You lose series, you're not there. So and I always say, if it's a 3-game series, you got to win 2 of them. You know what I mean? You always got to be above 500 in this thing, no matter what. So I think we've been doing that for the most part, and that's why our record still shows where that. It seems like we've been winning series, and I think we're starting to get a little bit more healthier. The bats are coming back. Nemo came back. You know what I mean? We're looking for a couple of bats to get back here, and I think I like the way Davis is playing. And I don't even think Conforto warmed up yet. You know what I mean? Since his injury. So I think Alonso, once he get in the groove, the Mets going to be a pretty tough team, man. I think they're going to be dangerous going down the stretch. If our pitching hold up, then I think we good for sure. Yeah,
one thing I'm getting a little annoyed is with the New York media. This New York media is New York media. With Francisco Lindor, yes, he's batting .212. Yes, he's got $41 million contract and all that, and they're criticizing him. You got a man on first and second. or first and second, if I'm not mistaken. He bunts, and he got a base hit, and he got a base hit bunt. He got on base, and it led to an open inning. They're killing him. Oh, why is he bunting? He bunts too much. He bunts this and that. Wait a minute, that's part of baseball. The kid grew up playing the right way of baseball. When we're, as a former manager, former coach of Little League, and all the way to junior pony, um, we teach our kids no matter who you are, even if you're the fourth batter, if you're in a situation, you got to learn how to lay a bunt down, because you're not always going to be the number 4 hitter or the best hitter in your team. That's the philosophy going in, and I understand his major pros to amateur or youth league. But you still gotta, that still was a smart play. He got on base, he got the hit, he got on there. What do you want him to? If he would have grounded into a double play and killed a rhythm or a rally, they would have been killing the kid. Not for nothing. Since that man has been on the New York Mets, that positivity and that good vibe that he brings to the team, it's leadership. He brings a leadership that you cannot measure. Analytics cannot measure it. No matter what you say, cannot measure it. Whenever the pitchers are having a little bit of a rough outing or shaky, when there's a timeout or when the catcher goes to conference or the pitching coach, Lindor's there. Lindor's there talking, speaking that positivity, encouraging his teammate, his fellow pitchers. Hey, get it? I think he's a big reason why Edwin Diaz has relaxed and he's became reestablished himself as a dominant closer in Major League Baseball and having, he should be. I don't know if he made the All-Star team, but he should be on the All-Star team, in my opinion. And Taijuan Walker, I think, will be making the All-Star team in order in Jacob DeGrom start. Another off-season pickup, Walker. Taijuan Walker, no one gave him a contract. The Mets only offered him a 1-year, $20 million deal. He took it. It still was a lucrative deal. It was a good contract for him, and no one offered him, and he took it. And he has rewarded the Mets above and beyond expectation for this first half of the season. I hope the wheels don't fall off, which I don't think so, because I think he's doing good things, are good fortunes with him pitching going forward. And you also see Marcus Stroman, pretty good pitcher. He's in a contract year and he's pitching very well as a good solid number 2. So you have 3 good pitchers there. DeGrom, you got Marcus Stroman, Taijuan Walker, you have Peterson, young kid who's pitching excellent, from time to time, and then you even got McGill came in yesterday, pitched a wonderful. The Mets are getting richer in pitching, and you said the reinforcements are even coming expanded. You got Syndergaard might come back in late August. Cookie Carrasco is and you're gonna see probably July 31st. I think it's like making a trade for a pitcher. If they get Carlos Carrasco back, that guy has experience. A smart pitcher. If he's on, you got yourself something. You got something good brewing in the New York Mets. I think the Mets need to get another strong flamethrower reliever if he's available out there. If you kick the tires on Madison Bumgarner, if you can get him for cheap, bring him in here to pitch. And postseason pedigree that he has. And third baseman wise, they were talking about Donaldson. I think Donaldson is toxic. I think he by the sticky stuff and all the situation that he bought. I think he might be toxic for the clubhouse, but maybe when a Lindor there, maybe and he's such a positive and upbeat person. Maybe they might take a flyer with him because he goes, you know what? Maybe the leadership in that clubhouse, Lindor won't allow it to transpire. Maybe that's they could take that. And I also saw another third baseman for the Mets, Adams from the Pirates. Adams is available also. A solid defensive third baseman for the Pirates. Change of scenery to New York. Who knows what could happen? I like in a all nutshell. I like the way the Mets going into the All-Star break. I think they got a good thing going. I think Luis Rojas is a very excellent manager. A very good manager. He knows what he's doing with that team. There's a reason why the new ownership kept them around. They didn't make a change, knee-jerk reaction with, oh, he's part of the ownership, let's get rid of him. No, they kept him. They seen something in him. And I think it's going to pay off for the Mets. I think they win a division. I think don't forget that there's also a possibility of Chris Bryant from the Cubs. The Mets could, they kicked the tires. They were flirting with him. And, Chris Bryant is going to be a free agent. Chicago's really not going anywhere. They're going to need to unload him for something. And you could see, could I see Chris Bryant come to the New York Mets? Of course. What do you think on that?
Yeah, that I can see that happening. That's a good take and a good analogy because, and even with Lindor, Lindor fine. Lindor plays in New York, so
Right.
you know that, and we are the most knowledge-driven, opinionated fans in the world. New York sports media fans. So I don't think he worried about that. You know, they're gonna criticize you no matter what you do if it's because that's just the way the sports media in New York is just amazing. I mean, you know, and it's the media, so you know we used to it. And I think he been schooled on that. For him, you know, but you know what? When you're batting 212, and you're gonna get the booze in New York City. That's just how it goes. If you shoot one for 12 in New York and Madison Square Garden, you're gonna hear about that. You let Daniel Jones go two for 12. You will hear the criticism. You know, it's New York City, man. That's why I love New York sports, because we got some of the most. You know, because when you got people who like to criticize, that only brings fuel to you want to be better. So it's like a motivation to me, much as fuel, because they love you when you do good. If Lindor was batting 3-something and he had 12, 20 home runs, them fans to be on that man like it wasn't no tomorrow. He would be the man. Let him bat 212, you know what's going to happen. So Lindor, he probably feeling the little heat from the contract and just selling New York. But you know what? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. You know what I say, yeah. Next thing you know, the band batting 270 in the second half of the season, tearing it up. So yeah, you know, but I think that I like that Brian talk though. I think that's real cool. I think somebody like him who's been there when the Cubs, when Rizzo and them guys was doing anything over there in Chicago, and he might come on to be a big boost for the Mets, extra boost rather. But I do like I like our clubhouse. I think Steve Cohen he came in and he got rid of the BS. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just like when Scott Perry them came in and he got rid of all the BS. And you know, you start putting in the structure. So I think Donaldson will be handled. I don't think somebody at his age and his career he's looking to come in there and wild out. Hopefully, he come in there to want to contribute and help win the ring. But I think one man. I don't think one bad apple going to spoil a whole bunch of. You know what I mean? I just think that nah, you ain't messed up what we got. So if you come in there, you had to get in where you fit in, or you know. And I think that might be even manifest before they even. If they thinking about signing with Mr. Donaldson, this is what we do in New York City. I don't think they just sign, let them come in and act the fool. No, are you willing to do this and do that and be like that before we give you this money? I'm quite sure that conversation should be had with any ball player, you know, and, at this stage with like, listen, you come into this team, you know, we want you because of your talent, but we also need, this is the way we do business in New York. You got to remember, it is a job. It is a business. So they got certain rules and guidelines and he got to abide by that. And I think if he did, it'd be a tremendous asset for us bat wise. Because the man can swing, you know, he can hit you some balls out the park. But I like Brian better though. You know what I mean, from that standpoint anyway.
Right, because Josh Donaldson, former MVP, American League MVP with Toronto Blue Jays. Right. What I like about the Chris Bryant deal, not only you could play third base, you could put him at first. You could move him around. He also he was versatile. He plays first base. You know, when Rizzo went down, he played first base for the Cubs, and also left field. So now you have a player that could play multiple positions, and you can move him around. And the Mets like to move around, especially late game situation. You know, when you don't want to lose a bat like a Chris Bryant, and you want to move, you can move him. You know, to bring in, you know, if you want to bring in a defensive replacement. Yeah, and you know, and let's say he starts the game at left field, and you want to bring a defensive placement at left field, you move him to third, or if you want to bring in, you know, him to play first base, and you already used up a Dominic Smith, and you want to, you know, save Alonso's glove, you know, you think Rizzo, you know, you think Brian has a better glove than you know Pete Alonso, you can move him to first. So there's a versatility, there's that interchangeable part, and I think the Mets should go after is Chris Bryant, in my opinion, over Josh Donaldson, because you really don't want Donaldson too close to the offices of the Major League Baseball. You know, and there's going to be so much speculation. Or who's he talking to in the Major League office, and yada yada. And the Mets don't need that. Mets have a good thing going. You know, I think they have a good thing, good vibe going, good chemistry with the team, everyone in there. And I'm not saying Donaldson is going to be a negative Nelly or a bad apple, but you don't want people to start speculating. You know how the media and writers, you know, when they don't have, they start speculating, or just they say, you know, they throw it against the wall and see what sticks. And you know, and unfortunately, that's that business in the New York tabloids, that they like to do that. And most of the time, you know, sometimes most of the stuff is not even true. And you know, the Mets, like that in a long story, they don't need that distraction. And with a novice owner like Steve Cohen, you don't want those questions, because he might intentionally say something that is not, it comes out wrong, and then they make something. They'll everyone will drown in a cup of water, and the Mets don't need to drown in a cup of water. They got good vibes going, and they're going forward. And I think, like I said, I think the Mets win the division. I think, second half, I think they win it going away, because I think they're a far more better team than everyone in the division right now. That everybody in the division is like they're stuck in neutral. No one could get that first gear, and the Mets are in first gear. And I think the Mets are going to start jumping into second and third gear. If they're automatic, if they're a 5-speed vehicle, they'll start tuning, and I think come September they'll get ready to hit that fourth and fifth gear and really take off. I think the Mets are going to go on a nice run in the playoffs. Now, can they be run away enough where they could get the home field advantage to Citi Field through the playoffs? I mean, I know I'm getting ahead of ourselves. We still got a whole second half of season to play, but if they continue to win their game and beat up on their division and get going, because that's going to be a dogfight in the National League West between the Giants, the Padres, and the Dodgers. They're going to go back and forth, jockeying position. The wild card is coming out of those two. Out of those three teams are going to make the playoffs. Who's going to get what position? We don't know. And the Dodgers receive a big blow with Trevor Bauer being suspended again for that accusation that that assault accusation outside the field. And they put him on the administrative assistant suspension by the Major League while they investigate if it was consensual. Not consensual. It's just an ugly situation with Trevor Bauer. He just signed that big contract with the Dodgers. He was their big free agent pickup. I'm glad the Mets bit that bullet. They didn't, he didn't want to. He didn't choose the Mets, so the Mets, they lucked out, because imagine that PR move with their general manager, with the harassment and yada yada. Thank God they dodged that bullet, in my opinion. But that's let the court of law handle it and all that, and the Mets, they got a good thing going. So I'm glad they dodged that bullet. We see the National League, the teams that are there, I think is going to stay there. I don't see a surprise. I think this year is going to be a vanilla. As far as standings, who's going to be there, who's not going to make it at the end. I don't see too much of a surprise team moving forward especially in the National League. Maybe the Washington Nationals may make a small run, but Schwarber got injured. He was on a tear, hitting home runs left and right. It'd be interesting to see if by July, at the end of the month, the week before the trading deadline, and how far the Nationals are. If they are 10 games out, they could actually move a Bumgarner Scherzer and others. Who knows? We'll see that coming. And that's going to be interesting around the National League. We'll keep an eye on that. And, of course, we're going to break down now the team from the American League that plays in the Bronx, the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees, when they're on the West Coast, the past two nights, they were on a 3-game winning streak. They beat the Mets. They salvaged that Subway Series, the final game of the Subway Series, because it would have been an embarrassing situation to get swept at home by the New York Mets. Kudos to the Mets for taking 2 out of 3 to the Yankees at Yankee Stadium over the 4th of July weekend. I'm pretty much embarrassed the first 2 games, the New York Yankees, but the Yankees bounced back. They won that game and they got away. I think they needed to get away from the Bronx for a little bit. They went on the West Coast. They won when they had 18 hits in their first game against Seattle, 12 runs. They gave up one. Jamison Tyone pitched a wonderful game, or 1 run through 7.5 innings. And they won that game 12-1. Last night they got up on a big start. They were up 5. Domingo Germán had to get an emergency root canal. He didn't make the start. Nick Nelson did. But he was shaky, and Boone pulled them after the first inning. The Yankees were up 3-0, and they pulled them, and he didn't want it. And Boone managed with a little urgency. We saw Domingo Germán come in later in the game to play in the bullpen, and they hanged on. You saw Chad Green. Was the most important thing. You saw Chad Green close the game. The night before, Aroldis Chapman got in the game. He had a pretty okay game. What is not being reported. Sir, I heard it from John Smoltz. I heard it from a few. The Aroldis Chapman has a finger, had an infection in his finger, and the nail came off. Now that's giving him problems gripping the ball and holding it, because it's a painful. Rubbing it and holding it. That's why his slider doesn't break. And his fastball, he doesn't have too much of a control because he can't grip it. Because he has when you have even when you have a hangnail, but this guy has the whole nail removed, and that that's nerve ending. Your fingers are nerve ending, and that's why he's been struggling. Until they should just put him on the injured reserve, shut him down, and let him heal. Well, what do you think on that one?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, first and foremost, the Yankees. And like I said, they got talent there, man. And I knew that even after they lost the 3 games to the Red Sox, now they come back and would beat the Mets. And they go out there to Seattle, so they almost like they got them 3 games back, basically. You know what I mean? It's all about the players, just doing their job. You know what I mean? Like you said, 18 hits. With 18 hits, Aaron Boone looked like a great manager. With 2 hits, he looked like a terrible manager. When the pitcher give up 1 run, the Yankees win. Boone is a great manager. When they give up 5 runs and 6 runs and get smashed, Aaron Boone looked like a bad manager. I mean, so I feel like the Yankees got enough talent down there. That's how you start, is how you finish. It's just a process. You know what I mean? I think when the dust settles, the Yankees going to be there. I'm not even worried about the Yankees, man, because I just know that a winning organization don't go from one year you good and the next year you just suck. Pardon my French. That don't happen. And you had to literally change the whole team for that to happen. I just think that they just starting to finally find a rhythm and get into the baseball, that New York Yankees play. And I think after the second half of the season, they're going to be more familiar. And sometimes it takes teams longer to get to where they need to go than other teams. Like you think about the Mets. The Mets got there faster, but somebody else going to get there eventually. But they might then start off like the Mets. Out of the Yankees, they tread water enough. They said we're going to stay in that first, and that's no further than that fourth in the division. We're going to linger. We're going to linger in that spot until we get our guys rolling. Then once we get our guys rolling, they know they talented. They know they got Brent Cole and these cats. The Yankees got a good team. So I think it's just all a matter of they're going to hit a stride. They're going to go on maybe they win 4 series in a row, and then oh wow, Yankees behind Boston by 1 game. They just got to start winning series. You know what I mean? And I think once they start doing that, like I said before the 4th of July week, I said Yankees probably lose the Mets 2-1, and then you know what? Then they're gonna start finding their rhythm. I think that's the way they've been built since I've been watching. Since I know about the Yankees all the years, I noticed they are definitely a second half baseball team.
Right.
They're second since I've been watching. I'm not a Yankee fan like you guys are, where y'all watching religiously. But from what I've been watching over the years, and I just think that they're gonna catch fire. The bats gonna start clicking, and then next thing you know, we're gonna be like, whoa. So we'll see. I mean, they could go south too, but I'm looking. I had to be optimistic about it from what I know and from what I see. And I think that Chapman get back once that finger heal. Cole gonna get his stride. And everybody they're gonna fall in line. And I think when Sanchez and they big bat start swinging, watch the Yankees. We do gotta remember, it ain't so much as that the Yankees don't have talent. Like just John Carl Stanton right now. Not saying he's not, but they bats, but they wasn't warming up. But once some bats start warming up, them guys are not gonna go the whole season playing the way they playing. Not Carl. He's a major league ball player. That man is nice. That's why he got his money. I think once he get back healthy, I think Sanchez get back in his groove and let Judd do what he do, and you pick up, even Brent Gardner. All them cats gonna find it. They second half ball players, especially Brent Gardner. He gonna get his groove. Watch, like wow. So I'm optimistic about the Yankees in the American League. I think they can definitely still win that division with no problem. To me, I think them in Boston and Tampa, they're gonna be fighting for that, man. But I think the Yankees got enough to pull it out. You never know what they do at the trade deadline. They might go into the trade deadline and add some pieces. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But I think if Chapman get healthy, and I think they'd be all right. And let my man come around and Frazier and other guys get a little bit more familiarity with the league. Because sometimes was that record the second time around always better than the first time. You know what I mean? They went through a half season and they don't like these pitchers. They don't know these pitchers. Now watch when the second half come out. Okay, I know what you throw at me. I know. And them hitters start warming up. So remember when the weather get better, they get better. So I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see how warm it is in the Bronx. You know what I mean? When the weather gets good, BX and then cats warm them bats up in that short porch and they start making it happen. I think
the Yankees took the series against the Mariners. They 2-1. I think the Yankees need to finish this close out these last 6 games 4-2. Right now they're 2-1. They just dropped the last game to the Mariners today. They lost 3-0. They fell behind. Even though Montgomery pitched 7 strong innings of pitching, he gave up 2-run homer. He gave up 3 runs. The Yankees bat just didn't come through. They had the Seattle pitching gave up just 1 hit. 1 hitter. They just retired so many. I think it was like 20 batters in a row, something on that, right? And I was watching some of it. between my haircut and getting ready for the program, I watched the game and they just didn't get anything going. They tried in the ninth. They had DJ LeMayu on. They had a chance to bring a little bit of rally. Just fell short. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. Garrett Cole goes back to Houston, and they finished the last 3 games with the Houston Astros. Cole against his old teammates. Tomorrow, that's going to be interesting, to see if he bounce back. I think Garrett Cole is going to have, it's going to pitch 8 strong innings tomorrow. I think the Yankees win tomorrow. I think he's going to make a statement. I think he's going to go into Houston pumped. I think he's going to have one of his best pitching performances, one of the best pitching performances of the season. And I think the Yankees bats are going to come alive. I think I think this is what the Yankees needed to wake their butts up, to play the Houston Astros on the other side. And I think they're going to, what could have been, you stole what could have been, what you took from us. And I think Giancarlo Stanton, to your point, he's hot. If you look at his number, he's still batting over. He's batting 270, close to 270. He had a majestic home run to start the West Coast trip, a 3-run blast. He had a double the other night. Judge had a monster blast, upper deck shot. The bats are coming alive. Despite just this game was a little bit of a, I would have loved to get the sweep from Seattle because Seattle is I guess a game and a half a game and a half, now 2 games ahead of the Yankees for the final, when positioning for the wild card. They're ahead of the Yankees currently, but I think we'll pass Seattle. I don't think Seattle has the sustainability to stay up there. They're just playing well right now at the moment of the time. In American League, the Yankees never count the Yankees out. As a fan, I think there's still two playoff spots, the 2 wild cards. I think could they catch Boston? I think might win the division, but who knows? Even though they're a really good hitter, the core is a hell of a manager. Getting him back, it's really helped that team a lot. But remember, Tampa had lost their ace pitcher, Glasnow, for a while. Can they sustain in the second half? Continue this good play? I can see why not, but who never know? They might drop back down. The Blue Jays, do they have enough to take that next step? Could the Oakland Athletics, could they continue showing that dominance that they did? Because I think Houston will win that division as well. So the Yankees have an opportunity to catch these teams. Oakland seems to fade a little bit, down the stretch a little bit. So we'll see if they could add and brew the horses. It's going to be, I'm hoping personally. I would love to go into Houston and win 2 out of 3, and close out the season. The first half of before the All-Star break. On a high note, win. And just go in there and just regroup. Go back. Okay, guys, take the All-Star break. Go regroup. You know what? Let's put that first half behind us, and we know we could go out there and play Yankee baseball. And this team will add the reinforcement that's needed. So we'll see that. I think the Yankees, like you said, I think they're in good shape. It all depends. This weekend in Houston. Let's start it. Let's close out the show. The show started the way they started it. And let's see they could go forward and get into a good groove going forward with that, Divine.
Yeah, I agree. And let me ask you a question real quick. Do you think the Yankees, I don't know if it would be, let's say next year or a year after, maybe hypothetically, do you think that the Angels, if the Shahani keep going where he going, they're gonna have to pay that man, obviously. Do you see them? And if they're not going nowhere, do you see Mike Trout want to come back to the East Coast?
There's been speculation on that. Trout, during the according to the New York Daily News, if I'm not mistaken, if I got the wrong newspaper, forgive me. During the offseason, there was talks of exploration talks to send Aaron Judge back to the West Coast for Mike Trout and some kind of a blockbuster move. There were just talks. It wasn't nothing serious. It never got to but they were already been. There's been talks and rumblings between back and forth with these organizations. Can I see that happening? It might happen. Personally, I wouldn't mind. It would be Giancarlo Stanton over than Judge because you trade one. Even though Mike Trout is considered when he's healthy one of the best players, but Mike Trout is also injury prone. As long as I know he's as the thing, it doesn't get magnified because he's on the West Coast, and if you look at it, he's been injured, and I would like to see if Giancarlo, even if we eat half of it and we still absorb, I wouldn't mind that going that way. I wouldn't want to get rid of Judge, personally. But if it is, it is. Trout. I have to look at the numbers. Remember, Trout is getting up there a little bit in age. But the Yankees got a guy named Dominguez in the minor leagues who's going to be transitional, generational Juan Soto type of player coming up from the Nationals. Keep an eye on him. They have the Yankees got a couple future players going to play in the futures game in the minor league All Stars. That man in a few years. But the only thing that worries me, Cashman sits too much on the young guys in the minors, and you know what my theory. If you got, it's like a banana. If you got a ripe banana, you need to peel it and eat it. Don't let it sit there because it's just gonna go bad. It's gonna overripe, and it's no. So I hope and I hope that doesn't happen with Andujar. The right point is with Andujar, Frazier. You had a chance to play them when they needed to play. Now, Frazier now is with the concussion or dizziness with vertigo. Actually, on in the concussion vertigo list. Had vertigo because remember he had a bad concussion last year, and I don't think that kid is recovered. I think and I wouldn't be surprised if I see that kid pretty soon retire because of those head injuries or the concussions and the vertigo and not focus and baseball wise. It wouldn't surprise me. The point is they could have traded him away and gotten a lot of good players to add on, young players for Frazier and a lot of packages, even Miguel Andujar. And now the Trey Karate is not there because they struggling or whatever the case is. But man, I like Andujar's bat. But with that saying, Shohei Ohtani is, I think they signed him already he's there for another 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. And Artie Moreno for the Angels have a lot of money. That man is loaded. He's like, the thing is since this is Anaheim, it's quiet, Divine, or it doesn't get the hype because we are asleep at 10 o'clock. No one's staying up to see LA baseball as much as that. And they want to compete with the Dodgers. Artie Moreno has the firepower financially to compete with the Dodgers. The Anaheim Angels should have went and was after pitching. They should have went after pitching. Don't be surprised if they throw the bag at Marcus Stroman coming up in the offseason if the Mets don't sign him, or even though it's Syndergaard. Anaheim is desperate and they will overpay for pitching. Joe Madden is a hell of a manager. Remember, they have a good manager there too. I don't know what it is that they just don't seem to put it together. I don't know what. I can't put my finger on it. What's going on? They just don't have the it factor. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is what they need. Sometimes you got to trade away your franchise player, and I know it stinks, but sometimes you might have to take a step back to take a couple leaps forward. It sucked when we got rid of Carmelo Anthony. I didn't want to see Carmelo Anthony, to be honest with you. But we're trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel of taking those leaps. Granted, the Knicks took 4 steps back to get, but now we're leaping. We're trending in the right direction, leaping forward. I wish they would have not got rid of Carmelo. I wish Carmelo would have been part of the solution. Not him turning it around, but sometimes that's maybe what the Anaheim Angels needs. I think maybe that's something that needs to be exploited. Let's see if the Yankees, if they're available. I think Cashman needs to be smart and just try to get them for whatever try to pull a wool over the Anaheim Angels' eyes or something to get them in here because
I agree. I just brought that up because I just knew that sometimes you might have to trade. You might need to trade your franchise player to make your organization better. So, you think about what you get from Mike Trout. You know what I mean? You're gonna get something for him. You know what I mean? So you're gonna get some quality young talent. You're gonna get some proven talent for him because he's that good. They consider him almost the best in the game at one time. You know what I mean? So the Angels might be able to get a real good package. I just get a good package for him. And now, they build that team around Shahani and put the pieces around Shahani and get some more quality pitching. In that Trout deal, think about if you trade Mike Trout, you're going to get something good. You're not getting no garbage. You know what I mean? You're going to get something good for him. So I think that the Angels will have to support that. I just brought that not that to make it an Angel topic. Now that we talk to sports, I just wonder where he might reinvigorate his career in New York. Him and Yankee Stadium, man.
Imagine the marketability of him. He is marketable in Anaheim, but now you could showcase him on the network platform, not just the YES network, but ESPN, Sunday Night Baseball, Fox app Game of the Week, because now it's the big bag Yankees led by Mike Trout and if you keep Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge going up against anyone, that's markability, that's eyeballs instantly. And unfortunately, baseball has become a regional kind of sport, in my opinion. But if you really want to captivate, Yankees are the ones that draw the most. So if you put them there, he right there could just pay off with the markability the Yankees will have in jersey sales, merchandise, XYZ. He'll pretty much pay off Giancarlo Stanton's contract with the amount of merchandise and money they make, or even his own. And the Steinbrenner, that's like printing money if you bring that guy here because of the markability. I personally, I wanted him on the Yankees, but I was hoping the Mets. To be honest with you, when the Mets need a center fielder, and I'm Yankees all the way. But when I could bring a player to New York, I got a lot of Monument Park retired numbers. I wouldn't mind, and this is the me being transparent. I don't mind both teams sharing the wealth. I wouldn't mind the Mets going after Mike Trout and put him in center field in Shea State in Citi Field. He'll look great in the Mets. I don't know, he'll look greater in the Yankees, but he wouldn't look bad in the Mets colors either.
Oh yeah,
in my opinion. Yeah. Like I said, I was happy Piazza came when they traded for him. I like when both teams are relevant for selfish reasons, because both teams, I like when the city of New York gets involved in their playoff team and both teams are good, because baseball becomes more fun, and because both teams are in there, the fan bases are both passionate, and that bantering between both fan bases is fun, in my opinion, and that's why I was hoping, I'm hoping that I'm hoping he does come to these coasts. As long as he doesn't go to Boston or Philadelphia, I'm good.
Yeah, I think him come being from New Jersey, man. They probably grew up a Yankee or Met fan. You never know, but it'll be interesting. But you know what? Right now, I think baseball is about to be fun. I'm gonna watch the All-Star. I just want to see Shahani get down. I want to see how this cat get down. He's a talented dude, man. He made me think of a man from Milwaukee when he was hot. Was the home run hitter? Yelich. Is it?
Yelich?
Yeah, Yelich. He made me think of Yelich so much. Yelich, that boy, he could stroke that ball, man. I was like, okay,
yeah,
he got that beginning. So yeah, that's gonna be a fun All-Star game, man. Can you imagine if Mike Trout was healthy, he was there? Oh my God, bro!
And all that would have been That Tuesday night is the All-Star game on Fox, guys, on Home Run Derby Monday. That's the one everyone wants to see. Pete Alonso is going to defend his Home Run Derby title.
Come on, Pete, let's go get it.
In Coors Field, with a ball, you just bunt and the ball flies out of there with the high altitude. So that's going to be, it's going to be a lot of back out of here on home run shots and all that. And Devon, what's going to happen 3 weeks from now?
What's that?
NFL training camp starts.
Oh yeah.
Everybody reports for the NFL training camp.
Yes.
And in a week, I think a week or 2 weeks later, the Hall of Fame game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Steelers. Oh my God, football is right around the corner. Oh my goodness. Now the question is, will Aaron Rodgers show up to training camp with the Packers? Or will
you don't have to. He don't have to. He ain't sitting out no season. I can say he won't, but I don't see it though.
The deadline passed for him to file his paperwork if he was going to retire. I think it was in July 2nd, and he didn't put the paperwork in for retirement. So he's going to play somewhere by hook or crook, either with the Packers, or if he forces them to be traded or all that. I think it's just a game of stalemate. I think that's all it is. I think he'll be under center for the Packers going forward. We'll see, and so we'll break down the NFL. I just wanted to tease that out there with the NFL.
Let me ask you a question: if he were to get traded, I think he goes to San Francisco.
I think Denver.
You think Denver? Okay.
Denver or San. Yeah, either those two teams are the hot destination. Denver or San Francisco.
I think they can say either you take Garoppolo and this and that, or we give you Lance and this and that. You know what I mean? So
we'll see. Because they got we'll see. We'll see if who's gonna play the game of chicken there. The Packers. Remember, they're not owned by an owner. They're publicly owned by the fans. They have a They do have a general manager, and that does all these decisions. So it'll be interesting to see what thing there. I think that's where Rogers is trying to use as a leverage because they know there's not a real owner that says, you know what, screw it, let him go, or let's trade him. That I don't know, the fan. Oh, yeah.
Or Miami for Tagovailoa.
Yeah, but they have love. They're big on love that they drafted. The Packers. That's where all this problem comes. The Green Bay Packers a year, not this past draft, the following they draft Jordan Love, and with a first round pick, and Rodgers felt snide because it says I could have used, I was so close to the NFC title game. Why didn't you bring me reinforcement, get me a wide receiver, a still wide receiver? You got another quarterback. What are you trying to say? You want me out of here? You pushing me out? A la him through when he did to Brett Favre. The Packers drafted Rodgers when they had Brett Favre, and a couple years later, a year or two later, you know what happened. He got traded to the Jets, and they went with Rodgers. They moved forward. So he had like a revisionist history in his mind. Oh, maybe they want to do the same thing with me. So before they do that, let me just demand to go out of here and dictate where I want to go. So maybe that's what it is, or maybe not. He got his feelings hurt, or whatever the case is. But football season will be interesting because remember, it's gonna be 17-week season, an extra game now. It's gonna, Super Bowl is gonna be around Labor Day, President's Weekend, and it's gonna, extra wild card and all that. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. We'll hopefully we have some over and unders. Kind of couple upcoming weeks. We'll preview the season. We'll watch a couple of the first 2 preseason games before we make any predictions because we'll see who makes the cuts, who gets cut, who survives from injuries and all that. We've seen the Jets sign another cut defensive tackle from Washington. They're giving Wilson some beef to protect him. The Giants are kind of quiet. They say that Azori Ojiri looks great between Lawrence and the tackles there. They look like they're gonna have a monster pass rushing team going forward. And it's gonna be interesting to see how all around the league, or the movements and the cuts. Remember, there's gonna be players still to be cut, and and certain players will try to jump on a roster at the end of training camp, week 3 of training camp, or preseason games to make the roster, or there's a lot to be determined left in roster wise, but it's good to talk about the NFL in 3 weeks. It's good to talk about it. First time we mentioned the word NFL in I think in our program period. And it's fun, besides the draft, and it's fun to talk about football. It's going to be interesting how we're going to break it down when for the winter and the winter sports. But right now we got man, Divine, what a time to be a sports fan. When I opened the program, I opened the program talking about soccer. Who would have thought that Bronx Sports Jedi was open a program and the dominating segment will be soccer, the Euro Cup, Copa America. They're coming to an end. Remember tomorrow, guys, Colombia and Peru for the 3rd place finish. Saturday, it's for the title. Argentina is going to play. Brazil. That's going to be good. And then Sunday, England versus Italy for the Euro Cup, and then the Gold Cup starts. So we talked about soccer. The baseball is going in. The mid-season classic with the All-Star game, this weekend, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you got the fights, not just MMA fights, you got the boxing. We talked about Navarro and Colbert day before last weekend. It was what a good fight. This, Wilder Fury coming up, Spence and Pacquiao, Pitbull and McKee for the Bellator fighting. Man, so many. And then to top that off, the Olympics. You're gonna have Olympic basketball. If to see Team USA go in there, you see Team USA practicing, and how we all found out that Manuel quickly is being taken under the wing by Kevin Durant. Out of all people, he impressed quickly impressed Durant, and he's taking him under his wing to help him with his shooting ability and the big game range, which got me when I read that, I got me excited. I was like, "Ooh, man, that's excitement." And then the Olympics, not just basketball. You're gonna have the soccer Olympics. You're gonna have the all the other Olympic events that everyone likes to watch, with the synchronized swimming, the relay races, the hurdles. So if you're a sports fan this summer, while we had a really subpar due to COVID last year, now you got a lot. And before we get out of the air, I just want to salute the Tampa Bay Lightning for winning the Stanley Cup as well. Kudos for back-to-back titles. They did it in a gentleman's sweep over the Montreal Canadiens, 1-0. It was a good game. The second period goal was the clincher, and Tampa won it at home. So salute to Sergeant Knicks fan, who's a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. Sorry to your team that they won the Stanley Cup. And Balama won the MVP, the Conn Smythe Trophy. The goalie, phenomenal season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Repeat since the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2014 and 15 that they were back to back. So salute to them. And with that, I want to thank everyone for tonight's show. Divine, I appreciate you coming on always. You're always there, got my back, and I'm always there for you as well. And as well for my son, Austin. I appreciate him coming on. Thank you, Austin, for the UFC talk. It was fun. It was great to break that down. It was a good platform. And I can't wait to hear your Pitbull McGee and all the undercards with that and Bellator. And we look forward to hearing his segments here. And guys, give that notification, that like, and subscribe. I appreciate everyone that's been subscribing, enjoying the music, the record numbers of subscriptions that I've been getting. I appreciate each and every one of you. All the views, over 700 plus views you guys been watching on my program. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I also appreciate if you guys go on check out Nick's Real Talk as well with me. I'm there with Divine. Divine works hard on his program, and we go at it to try to give our best with the Knicks. And the guys for the Love of the Game podcast, give them a shot, listen to them. They're also there. You're going to see me there from time to time as well, talking to the guys. They're just 4 guys or plus, just sitting around having a conversation like if we're just hanging out, around the schoolyard or and we're back in school, around the lunch, waiting for lunch recess, and we're talking about sports. So, we ask you guys to give us a shot as well there. And I thank you guys so much. And with me, Divine, we want to say goodbye to everyone before we get out of here.
Yeah. Salute, man. Great show tonight. Thank you also for the UFC. Intellect, man. Of course, Bronx Sports Jedi. Thank you, my brother, for having me on tonight. It's always a pleasure coming on with my brother, man, talking sports. And y'all know where to get it at, man. Bronx Sports Jedi, man. Y'all like and subscribe. Tell your friends, your family, if they want to hear some good sports talk, some wide sport talk, some great sports talk, come on down here and hop on the stream, man, and subscribe and hit the notification to make it happen. Y'all already know what it is, man. Nick's Real Talk. We on tomorrow night, man, 9 p.m. We be talking, like I said, Manuel quickly, Obi Top and select team information. We're gonna go over the, RJ Barrett's coming up second season, his maturation, all that. We're gonna get into the draft, free agency, and all that good stuff, man. So y'all know what it is. Nick's Real Talk, the night show, man. Y'all come on down there. Appreciate having y'all, and salute to the chat and everybody watching where you at, man. We appreciate y'all coming on the sports show tonight. And we gonna get it popping tomorrow, man. And me and Bronx will be back on tomorrow night, man. With the panel, with the chat. Salute to the chat. You already know what it is. We'll be in there tomorrow night, man. Talking Knicks, man. So y'all have a good night and see y'all tomorrow night.